A very pleasant good afternoon to all of you. We come your way from Alex Box Stadium, Skip Bertman Field in Baton Rouge, where the Mississippi State Bulldogs and the LSU Tigers are about to do battle in SEC baseball. Let's go right to the Western Division standings in the league. LSU has moved up this weekend with 2 wins on Friday and Saturday. The Tigers now 5-5-1 in the middle of the pack. Alabama is at the top of the Western Division. Texas A&M, 3 games back in the loss column, is at the bottom. Welcome, everyone, with Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame member Ben McDonald. I'm Lynn Rollins. Ben, this is the new world of college baseball. LSU has won twice, and Mississippi State has only 1 run in 18 innings in this series.
Yeah, I mean, LSU's pitched great. Only 6 runs scored between the 2 teams in 2 games. LSU's pitching has been outstanding. Mississippi State's has been pretty good as well, but LSU has found a way to get some big hits and some clutch hitting, and so far they've done just what they needed to do by winning the first 2 games of this series.
And, oh, by the way, they've pitched pretty well. Additionally, as we go back to Friday, Aaron Nola wheeling and dealing.
Aaron Nola was Aaron Nola on Friday night. He's been that way for 2 years now. He's clearly the best pitcher in the SEC and one of the best in the country, if not the best. But he had 10 strikeouts, 8 shutout innings on Friday night. He set the tone early. And, of course, at the end of the game, the closer, Broussard, came in and finished it off.
Yesterday, John Cohen, the Mississippi State coach, was ejected for arguing a catcher's interference call that he thought should have been made. It wasn't. And John Cohen was ejected in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, that hurt them. Anytime you lose your skipper early in the ball game, especially a big series like that, it hurts. But there's Mississippi State's only run of the series. It was an unearned run that they pushed across to give them 1 run yesterday. But it was LSU and Civic late in the ball game to come up with a big base hit. It scored Mark Laird right there. That LSU went on to win 2-1. And there's a sac fly by Chinea at the end of the game right there to bring home Bregman with the 2nd run and ultimately the winning run.
And Joe Broussard, as he did on Friday night, also finished up for the LSU Tigers in fine fashion. Statistically, look at the number of hits Mississippi State has had in this series so far, only 6.
Mississippi State's batting 102 for the series. LSU only batting 207, but LSU's found a way to push home enough runs to win the first 2.
Then this 3rd game of the series is important for different reasons for these teams.
No doubt about it. For LSU, I mean, they got swept last weekend against Florida. They need to go ahead and finish this thing off if they can, because when you get swept, you want to get a sweep back somewhere in that 10-game series. For Mississippi State, they were the only team in the SEC that had won every series so far. They need to go ahead and win this game.
Let's look at our Valero keys to the game for both teams.
Well, for Mississippi State, we said, I mean, they're batting 102 for this series. They need some timely hits when they get some opportunities. They got to push them across. Their young freshman, Dakota Hudson, has to be big for them. He's a big kid with a big fastball. We'll see what happens on him. LSU can't be satisfied, Lynn. They can't settle for winning this series. They need to go ahead and sweep it and finish it off. And I think for LSU, early pressure on the young freshman Hudson's going to be big. His nerves are going to be really tough in this ballgame. Big environment for him, so we'll see what happens.
LSU has won 8 consecutive series against Mississippi State. Can the Tigers get the sweep today? We'll find out in a moment on CST. LSU Baseball on Cox Sports Television is brought to you by Capital One Bank, the official bank of LSU Athletics. By Take 5 Oil Change, home of the 5-minute oil change. By Valero, keeping America moving. And by the Star CCA Tournament, 101 days of fishing and $500,000 in prizes at ccastar.com. It's a gray day in Baton Rouge, but we've dodged raindrops to this point. These are the Bulldogs and the Tigers in the 3rd and final game of this SEC series. Here's the Mississippi State batting order for Coach John Cohen. It lines up like this, and you see 1, 2, 3 300 hitters in the lineup. Pirtle and Armstrong and Henderson, they all come in the middle of the order. The lineup brought to you by Atmos Energy. That's the 9 that will be taking its cuts against Kyle Bowman, who missed a start with an ankle injury. He's back on the mound here for LSU. Let's check in with a 3rd member of our broadcast team with more on Kyle Bowman. Here's Ronnie Rance. Ronnie?
Well, thanks, Lynn. You know, Kyle Bowman making his first start in about 3 weeks, had a sprained ankle, stepped on a baseball and missed a couple of starts. So good to see him back out there for LSU. He's a crafty lefty who's got about a B fastball. He's going to throw the ball in the mid-80s at best. His breaking ball is just kind of average. All of his pitches are Bs as far as the changeup and the fastball. The changeup is his best pitch that he's going to throw today. But here's what he does. He's left-handed, and he pounds the strike zone. Doesn't hurt himself. He can give up a couple of hits per inning because he's not going to hurt himself with the walks.
So defensively for the Tigers behind Kyle Bowman, it will be Fraley and Stevenson and Laird in the outfield, Ibarra, Bregman, Hale, and Moore on the infield, and Savic is catching. And it's time for our Atmos Energy first pitch. Kyle Bowman, 3 wins and a loss, 2.17 ERA. Seth Heck looks at a ball high and away. There were those at midweek and even in the first part of this series who thought that today's game would be extremely doubtful with a 100% chance of rain, and it may come in later, but right now winds are blowing a bit unusually from right to left compared to what we've seen for most of this year. But right now we're okay. Seth Heck hits a liner. It is caught by Mark Laird. He had to leave his feet, took a seat as he caught it in right field. We've come to expect that from every LSU outfielder.
Well, it doesn't really matter what outfielder it is. They all can run and go. Laird gets a great jump on this ball, uses his speed, and gets to it. And that first inning and that first out is always the biggest one for a pitcher. Good start for Bowman to this point.
Here's Alex Detz, the third baseman.
You see Bowman up to 88 with that fastball.
Detz out of San Luis Obispo, California. And the one strike pitch, lefty to lefty, that bends a little bit away from the strike zone.
That's his changeup right there. As Ronnie mentioned, he's got a good fastball, you know, for a left-hander. Pretty good changeup, and really a pretty good breaking ball as well. And not scared to throw that changeup in any count. That's back-to-back right there.
Detz is 1 for 6 in this series. Remarkably, nobody has more than 1 hit for Mississippi State in the first 2 games. That is out of play. Bouncing into the bleachers on the left side. Only 6 hits in the series for the Bulldogs. Detz, Henderson, Armstrong, Pirtle, Heck, and Vickerson have the hits. And that's it. And there's only been 1 extra base hit.
Well, you know, we say it over and over again, Lynn. I mean, the bats have really hurt. Mississippi State, like LSU, lost a lot. I mean, they had the big fellow, the first-round draft pick, Renfro, last year out in right field, and he was really good, but they lost a lot. Of course, don't forget Mississippi State, you know, played for the national championship last year. Really a team, you know, midway and even late in the year, nobody thought could make it there, but they got hot at the right time, made it all the way to the championship series and lost to UCLA.
The 3-2 pitch is spoiled foul. 9 members of that Mississippi State 2013 team are playing professional baseball this spring.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows to show you the experience, the depth that they had last year.
3-2 pitch is upstairs. There's a rare walk from Kyle Bowman. It's a gray day in Baton Rouge, a little airish and a little chillier than we've had in the last week or so. Cribs Incorporated brings the weather 74 degrees. It seems a little cooler than that. The humidity 93%. The winds are out of the east at 14 miles an hour, and there is an advancing chance of rain as the evening progresses. But right now, we're in good shape. Here's Wes Ray. He has worn the collar in the first 2 games. Bowman starts the big right-handed batter with a breaking pitch that curled in on his hands.
Well, and Wes Ray is really the key to Mississippi State, Lynn, for me. I mean, you see how big he is, 6'5", 275, almost looks like a truck driver. He's just a big guy, but he's the pop in this lineup, and, you know, and he's only hitting, coming into the game today, 263. And of course, if Mississippi State's going to be productive offensively, kind of like Bregman for LSU, he has to be the guy that's going to drive in runs. He's got to get the big hits, and he's certainly quite capable of doing so.
Half of his at-bats this weekend have resulted in strikeouts.
And that's not like him. He normally doesn't strike out that much. And, of course, he doesn't have a base hit either.
He checked his swing, and he committed. So that's 5 times that Wes Ray has struck out in 9 at-bats against LSU pitching.
Well, you know, in the SEC, Lynn, we all know it's not about, you know, who you're playing and what you're playing. Is what time you catch these teams right now. And obviously, Mississippi State is not playing well, not hitting the ball well. And most of that has to do with LSU pitching has been outstanding. But, you know, in the SEC, it's all about catching teams at the right time.
Brett Pirtle brings a 308 average to the plate. That takes a strike from Bowman. 2 outs, Stets at first base, with a base on balls from the starter, Kyle Bowman. Derek Armstrong is on deck. Detz is the base runner at first. He drew a 1-out walk.
Yes.
Mississippi State 20-12 on the year, 6-5 in the Southeastern Conference. The 1-1 pitch. Bowman instead looks at first base. Bowman to the belt. He delivers upstairs. Bowman is a 5'11", 221-pound junior from Ferguson, Missouri, who started his collegiate career at Jefferson County Community College. That's chopped foul off to the right side. LSU has had terrific starting pitching in this series. Aaron Nola on Friday threw a 2-hit shutout over 8 innings, and Jared Poche was very good through 6 innings last night.
Well, while LSU's waiting for the hitters, you know, to really get going, that's what they're going to have to do is pitch and play defense.
Bregman takes the easy out at second base with Connor Hale covering. And we move to the bottom of the first inning. We are scoreless in the final game of this series. This is the way the LSU Tigers will bat in the bottom of the first, courtesy of Atmos Energy, the largest natural gas provider in the state of Louisiana. You see 3 300 hitters in the lineup. Cade Savick in the cleanup spot, batting .361. Jake Fraley in limited duty at .385. And Andrew Stevenson at the bottom of the order, hitting .341. That's a lineup which will take its cuts against Dakota Hudson. And with more on the Mississippi State starter, let's go down to Ronnie Rance. Ronnie?
Well, Dakota Hudson is a big, strong 6'5" freshman right-hander out of Tennessee. He was drafted out of high school by the Texas Rangers. And, you know, I talked to John Cohen, and he said he's got a lot of Ben McDonald in him because he's 6'5", he's very athletic, and can throw the ball in the mid-90s. He's got an A fastball that can be an A-plus fastball. His breaking ball, which is a slider, is a B+. The changeup, we give it a C+ only because it's very inconsistent but capable of being extremely good. But he's athletic, and he keeps getting better and better each time out. Guys, this is his first SEC start of the year, of his career.
It's been a while since he's pitched. Our pitcher scouting report brought to you by Louisiana Cat, your statewide Caterpillar dealer.
Yeah, I think John Cohen's really rolling the dice on this one, Lynn. I mean, you're bringing in a guy that's just a freshman in this environment. You've lost the first 2 games, and you're bringing a guy that hadn't basically touched the mound in competitive environment in a month now. So it's a pretty big gamble right here. That's why I think it's important for LSU to put constant pressure. This kid's going to have to be nervous, not only in this environment being a freshman, but because he hadn't faced a batter in a big situation in a box in a month now.
Sean McMullen, Mark Laird, and Alex Bregman for the Tigers. McMullen is the designated hitter this afternoon. He's a guy at the top of the order who sprays extra base hits.
Yeah, McMullen's done it. You know, we saw him do it last year. He's done it again this year, and he's put up some good numbers. And you mentioned it, Lynn. I mean, his slugging percentage, .528, which is very high for a leadoff guy. And he's got 3 triples, 3 homers. 20 RBIs. He leads the club with runs batting in.
Interestingly enough, Ben, and you've talked about it this year, McMullen against left-handed pitching is extraordinary. He never seems to flinch. He's batting .353 against lefties, only .257 against right-handers.
Yeah, I mean, he really stays in there on lefties. Like most lefties, you know, bail out. The average one does, but he just stays right in there. I like to watch him hit on lefties. And, of course, being kin to Will Clark, I'm sure he learned that from his left-handed hitting cousin, Will Clark.
8 extra base hits in Southeastern Conference play. And McMullen, who doesn't walk a lot, opens the game with a base on balls. McMullen has had 31 hits this year, and 17 of those have been for extra bases.
Yeah, absolutely. Got some pop. We saw him hit a triple. And, you know, Mark Laird coming to the plate here. You got to think LSU is going to try to put a runner in scoring position for Bregman, who's on deck. And, of course, LSU's best hitter so far in Cade Savick batting in the 4-hole today.
Laird has been very consistent in his offensive prowess against either right-handers or left-handers. He's hitting .280 against left-handers, .279 against right-handers. McMullen leaning, and he's picked off. Sean McMullen took a step towards second, and Hudson delivered the ball to first base.
Real quick move by Hudson. See, watch the lean. You're going to get a little bit of a lean right there. He was obviously stealing, and Wes Ray applies the tag up the arm a good bit, but still, McMullen is out at first base.
So Sean McMullen apparently was going to be on the move, either in a hit and run or a stolen base opportunity. And Dakota Hudson erases him at first base.
And that's big. That's big for Mississippi State and big for the freshman Dakota Hudson right there. Want to get that first out.
Let's look at this again, and you see McMullen, who obviously took a step towards second, and then oops.
Oh, yep. And once that happens and the throw's on the money, and he was going to be out. And you're right, Lynn. It was either going to be a straight steal or a hit and run. Most probably a hit and run in that situation, and that's tough, you know.
Two balls and a strike to the sophomore outfielder Mark Laird. And now it's 3-1. The lights have been on here for quite a while, and they will stay on throughout the afternoon. And Laird draws a base on balls. Then you talked about it, and Dakota Hudson not able to find the strike zone, at least early in his first appearance in about a month.
That's why you got to get them now, Lynn. Starting pitchers in this environment, especially a freshman, that first inning that we always talk about, it's the toughest one. And this poor kid, I mean, he hasn't pitched in a month. And so it's even tougher for him, you know. And so LSU's got to take advantage here. They've had an opportunity, got picked off, and now you got another opportunity with Bregman at the plate and Laird, who can run as well at first base.
Bregman is hitting right-handed pitching much better than left-handed pitching. He's above 300 against righties. He's down to 231 against southpaws.
Which doesn't make sense.
He pops up the bunt, and it carries all the way to the mound for the out. So Bregman, trying to sacrifice, pops the bunt back to the mound.
I mean, I couldn't tell, you know, it's almost he drops his right leg back, Lynn, like he's going to try to bunt for a base hit, you know, almost like a drag bunt situation, maybe trying to shoot it towards the shortstop. Heck, you don't see Bregman do that too often, you know. If you're going to do it, obviously you got to bunt the top half of the baseball, which he tried to do.
Here's Cade Savick. Savick is hitting .225 against SEC pitching. That's far less than his overall average. Civic could not get extended on that swing. He's batting .361 for the year, but more than 100 points less than that against SEC pitching. He's 2 for 7 this weekend with a big RBI last night. A one-strike pitch.
It looks like Randolph's going to go out and have a little talk with Hudson. I mean, Hudson hasn't been real good. LSU's kind of let him off the hook to this point. I mean, 2 walks. And Bregman pops up a bunt.
Mississippi State will not be hesitant about going to its bullpen today, and for that matter, neither will LSU. Both of these coaches will play this one like the final game of the college season.
Well, and again, that's Mississippi State's strong point, too. I mean, it is their bullpen. I mean, Ross Mitchell's been their best starting pitcher, but he's only got 4 starts now. He's been mostly a reliever until SEC play started.
The runner is moving, and the peg is not in time. Mark Laird selected a perfect pitch from an LSU standpoint on which to run. That was down and difficult to handle by Zach Randolph.
Laird gets a really good jump, and that's not a good ball to handle for the catcher. Randolph does all he can do to try to get rid of it, but Laird got a wonderful jump. You can see it right there, and he's easily in to second base.
That's his 4th stolen base of the season. And now Civic has an RBI opportunity. The 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball does not bite. You know, Ben, all season long we've been saying that Cade Civic is the first scholarship athlete at LSU from Maurepas, Louisiana. But we got word a few days ago that we've been mistaken.
That's right.
Stacy Brown, who played women's basketball from 1979 through 1981 under Coach Barbara Swanner, was the first scholarship athlete at LSU back in the late 70s and early 80s. So Stacy Brown, you indeed were the first from Maurepas.
We can say that Cade Civic's the first male scholarship athlete to go to LSU.
There
How about
you
that?
go. Well, that's the 3rd walk of the inning. 2 outs, runners at first and second. And when you look in the rearview mirror at Sean McMullen being picked off first base after he drew a game-opening walk,
right,
that really changes the whole complexion of this potential rally for the Tigers.
Absolutely. And if LSU can find a way to come up with a big base hit by Tyler Moore right here or Connor Hale and score a run or 2, it won't be wasted. But unfortunately, you know, and these are the kind of things that swing momentum. You know, Mississippi State and Hudson can pitch out of this, and then he gets it, you know, gets it going, gets his rhythm going next inning. It could be bad news for LSU.
Well, LSU has had 3 base runners, but 1 has been picked off, and then Alex Bregman bunted back to the pitcher for the 2 outs. Here's Tyler Moore. He is first pitch swinging, and this one is dropping in left field. Laird scores. He was off with the contact, and the Tigers scratched their way for a first-inning run on a soft hook-back fly ball to left center field off the bat of Tyler Moore.
Take them any way you can get them. Runs have been so hard to come by in this series. LSU's only scored 5 runs. Mississippi State only 1. This ball not hit very hard, but it's hit in the right spot, right off the end of the bat, and just lobs it out there in front of Vickerson. But oh so important first run of the game for LSU, and there's Laird coming around 3rd and scoring the first run for LSU.
Here's Connor Hale. Against SEC pitching, he is LSU's 2nd leading hitter at .268. The Tigers do not have a batter hitting over 300 against SEC pitching.
Well, LSU's been a struggle this year hitting, especially in the SEC. I mean, they came into this series only hitting .212, which was last in the SEC when you talk about just in SEC games. And they're hitting right at .270 as a club. You know, Mississippi State's actually a little bit below LSU. So hitting's been hard to come by for both of these clubs. And that's why pitching and defense is so important until you're waiting for your hitting to get going.
Hale is 0 for 7 in this series. Not anymore. He drops one into center field. Cade Civic to the plate. He scores, and the base runner is thrown out at third. The run that does score, Cade Civic, who doesn't run particularly well, was chugging as best he could, and he got to the plate before Tyler Moore was thrown out at third. Connor Hale with the RBI base hit. A wild first inning, 2-0 LSU. The Tigers get 2 in the bottom of the first inning. We'll show you Cade Civic, who is chugging to the plate. He actually slowed up just a little bit on the base hit by Connor Hale.
And remember, if this run right here is, this guy is tagged out before that run scores at home plate, the run is at home plate doesn't score. And you see Civic slows down just enough to make it closer than what it should have been. And you watch, he'll get an earful from Coach Maneri for slowing down right there, because that is huge. See right there? You got to sprint through. You got to know the situation. The situation was where other runners were on base with a chance of getting thrown out, and that's why he's got to bust it and get all the way through to home plate before that guy's tagged out. LSU forced it. They got picked off. They popped up a bunt and had a little bit of a base running error. They were lucky with 3 mistakes right there to put 2 runs on the board.
Well, we move to the second inning. And here is Derek Armstrong, DeMarcus Henderson, and Jake Vickerson. Kyle Bowman has been given a 2-0 lead with which to work. Ibarra with a backhanded pluck and the accurate throw. 1 gone. Ibarra had a couple of very uncharacteristic throwing errors on routine plays on Friday. He had only 2 errors at third base the entire season before Friday, and he threw 2 away. But he also made a couple of very confident, awkward throws to other bases.
Yeah, in that same game, you're right. I mean, he had made 2 throwing errors, and I loved the play where he had to come in with a runner on first base. And 90% of third basemen in college baseball take the easy play. They throw across the diamond. But he threw across his body over to second base and got the lead runner. So shows you what kind of confidence he has as a defender.
That's going to be a foul ball.
I think the ball hit him in the box is what they called. As long as it hits you in the box, it's a foul ball. Hits you out of the box. Yep, got him right there. That's close. He's close to being out of the box right there, but home plate umpire John Bennett made the call.
John Bennett is calling balls and strikes. Mark Humphreys is at first base. Scott Irby is the second base umpire. And Joe Judkowitz is at third. Henderson committed on the swing. And that's the second check swing strikeout recorded by Bowman.
Yeah, Bowman's got a good fastball today. You know, we talked about him being in the mid-80s with that fastball as a K-Lady comes down, but he throws an extra ball kind of up in his zone right there, and Henderson just can't check his swing. But we've seen the velocity for Bowman up to 88 so far today. So he's got a little bit of extra. You know, hadn't pitched in a while. Had that 1 relief outing against McNeese on April the 2nd. His last start was against Vanderbilt, a couple of weeks ago.
This is a beautifully executed drag bunt by Jake Vickerson. And if you want to see how you draw it up on a chalkboard, this is what Vickerson was able to do. That is perfectly placed.
You can't do it any better than that. You got a left-handed pitcher which falls off to the third base side when he lets the ball go. And when you square around, you see Connor Hale's going toward first base is where he has to be. LSU's second baseman reads bunt. He knows he's got to cover first base in that situation. So give Vickerson a lot of credit. Puts just enough on it, pushes it in the right spot. That's a third bunt attempt, 2 for Mississippi State drag bunts and 1 for LSU on a drag bunt. So we've already seen 3 bunt attempts in less than 2 innings so far.
Once you get the ball by the pitcher, with the second baseman covering, you've got a pretty good chance.
Either way, I mean, because you can look at the middle infield right now for LSU and see how deep that they're playing. I mean, Hill's way back on the grass, Bregman's back there too. So if you can get a slow chopper or a bunt, there's a good look at it right there. And you get it going towards second base or going towards shortstop, very good chance you're going to beat it out.
Let's check in with Ronnie Rance. Ronnie?
Yeah, Lynn, the runner over at first base for Mississippi State, Vickerson, the left fielder who laid down a really nice bunt. He was roommates last year in junior college at Shelton State in Alabama with the LSU lefty reliever Henri Fauché. They were roommates together. They played for former Alabama Crimson Tide player Bobby Sproul over at Shelton State, who's really good friends with Alan Dunn.
So that's an interesting connection. And Bowman goes inside to Gavin Collins and hits him on the lead leg, it appeared. So the inning continues with a drag bunt base hit, and Collins was plunked. This brings on the catcher, Zach Randolph, as Paul Maneri looks on. Paul Maneri at LSU has never lost a series against Mississippi State.
That's pretty amazing because Mississippi State's had some good teams. You know, John Cohen does a wonderful job with State last year. They represented the SEC in the National Championship Series, as we all know, last year.
Randolph takes a quick strike over the inner half of the plate.
That's confidence right there. You see Bowman came inside with a fastball against Collins, and it hit him. And then he starts Randolph with a good fastball right on the inside corner, comes right back to it.
This is Randolph's 13th start. He's batting .234 with 11 base hits, and all of them have been singles. Ibarra cuts it off and can't quite get it. Bregman was backing up, though, and that perhaps saved a run.
Absolutely. Ibarra missed it, and Bregman knocks it down, keeps the ball kind of in the infield. Nothing hurt for LSU, still 2 out. Here's a good look at Ibarra. Does everything he can, can't quite get to it, but Bregman athletic enough to knock it down. That ball gets in the outfield, and it's going to be a run for Mississippi State. So
the bases are loaded, and this threat has reared its head with 2 outs.
Well, all with 2 outs, and we talked about this. Mississippi State has had some opportunities this series. LSU's made 4 errors. Mississippi State's gotten people in the scoring position, but failed to get some big hits when they could have. Here is yet another opportunity for Mississippi State.
Seth Heck hit the ball hard to open the ball game, but he lined it to the diving Mark Laird. The outfield straightaway and medium depth. The infield is back with 2 outs. One ball, 1 strike. Mississippi State has loaded the bases, and it has not had the ball out of the infield. Bowman. That's caught. The liner to the right side, handled by Tyler Moore. 2 pretty good swings by Seth Heck, but the line drives have both been caught. LSU casts ice on the rally and leads 2-0.
All right, take a look at this play. Happened in the first inning for LSU. We're talking about Savic barely making it home. Not running all the way through. You see him rounding third. There's a center fielder. Stevenson comes in. He makes the throw towards third base to nail Tyler Moore. Tyler Moore is going to be out right now. And Savic is just, and that's the point that we make is, and that's why Maneri was so upset, is that Savic has to run all the way through home plate. If he runs through that plate, he beats that home by a full step. But instead, it was one of those bang-bang plays, and it could have been where home plate umpire John Bennett would have called him out, and that would have hurt LSU big time.
Both coaches were upset on that play. John Cohen was claiming that Savic had not scored before the 3rd out at third base.
And he could have made the argument in that direction for sure.
And Paul Maneri was clearly telling Cade Savic, run hard until you cross the plate.
No, it's just one of those things that you got to know. There's other runners on base, and they may be making cuts and throws, and that's why you got to get to home plate as fast as you can.
Jake Fraley. 1 ball, 2 strikes on this freshman.
You know, especially with 2 outs. If it's, if it's 1 out or nobody out, obviously you're going to score on that play, and whatever happens in the field doesn't really matter if they tag somebody out. But with 2 out, you got to know you got to get home and score that run before anybody's tagged out on the bases.
Fraley is making his 7th start this afternoon. This is his 21st appearance. He's 10 for 26 and has driven in a dozen runs. He's got 1 triple, 3 doubles, and a home run.
Well, Jake Fraley's the young man coming out of high school that, you know, it was LSU's prize recruit in that class right there.
That's a heck of a play by Brett Pirtle.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. Brett Pirtle with an outstanding play because Jake Fraley runs pretty well. We'll see about this in slow motion because Fraley gets down the line. Big chop in the infield, backhand, plants, goes over, and I mean bang, bang. Big Wes Ray, 6'5", reaches out. I think he was safe, you know, so if LSU maybe caught a little bit of a break on that play by Savic touching home plate, maybe Mississippi State gets a little bit of a break right there.
Brett Pirtle turned it into an out. Replay showed that perhaps Fraley did get to the bag before the scoop by Ray. But there's one gone, and here's Christian Ibarra. This is twisting out of play into the bleachers on the right side for a 5th row souvenir.
There's a good look at it. Foot's on the bag now, and the ball left. I mean, it's just, what, an inch apart, Lynn, maybe 2 inches apart. That's one of those bang, bang again. Can go away. LSU caught a break on Friday night. Remember, McMullen led the game off and was called safe, and the replay showed that he was actually out, too. So it's a weird way. Most of the time, these calls by these umpires in these series pretty much even out by the end of the 3-game series.
Ben, I'm not saying that this was the case, but sometimes psychologically, when an infielder makes a great play and then follows with a great throw, you don't exactly anticipate the out, but sometimes you sort of subconsciously reward him, perhaps.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that occurred, because umpires are supposed to call what they see, no matter what preceded the play. And there is a tendency, and you see it in the major leagues as well.
Well, it's kind of like a pitcher that's always around the strike zone. You know this. I mean, if I'm always throwing strikes, and umpire's used to raising his right hand and saying strike 1, strike 2. Now I throw a ball that's 3 or 4 inches off the outside corner, and it hits the glove where the catcher's set up. Lots of times I'll get that call as a pitcher because I've thrown so many strikes. And just to your point, I mean, that's a great play out there by Pirtle. And if I'm umpiring over there, and if I see a guy make a play like that, I'm probably going to have a tendency to err towards him because he made an outstanding play.
The 0-2 pitch, grounded foul, and it has started to rain lightly here in Baton Rouge.
But, I mean, the umpire in that situation, Lynn, and you've done a lot of umpiring, too. I mean, you just can't. He's not wrong on either one of those calls. That play is so close by inches. I mean, either call he made is going to be the right call in that situation.
The umbrellas are coming out, and folks are leaving the bleachers to find some cover underneath the grandstand.
94 miles an hour by Hudson. Scouting report was right on him. Just a freshman. Big kid, 6'5". That fastball's been up to 95. We've seen it. Pretty good breaking ball.
There's a bender, and it did not miss by much.
Nope. And see, that's a good pitch. I mean, that's a really good pitch. And, you know, different umpire, different day. That's going to be a strike and strike 3.
Two 2-0 Tigers. We play in the 2nd. Ibarra can't get it by Detz. He spins, he throws, and Ibarra is safe. Ray tried to make the swing tag, and Ibarra was able to beat the throw from the third baseman Detz.
Yeah, that's a tough play ball. Way in the hole by Detz. He did everything he could do. Goes in the hole to his forehand side out to the grass and comes across the diamond. And big Wes Ray with the swipe right here. Watch Ibarra avoid the tag right there. It just beats it out.
That'll be an infield hit for Christian Ibarra. One on, one out. And here's Andrew Stevenson. Stevenson is batting .341. 4 triples. And his other hits have been singles. 4 triples and 27 singles. That's an odd combination.
Yeah, it is. But I like having him, and you mentioned it too, I like having him at the back end of that lineup. I mean, it gives you 4 guys in a row that are above average runners.
Safe at second base. Seth Heck made a terrific pickup running to his backhanded side. But he and Pirtle could not connect on the middle bag.
Well, you know, pretty good pitches right there by Hudson, but both of these balls in the hole, and you see Heck goes in the backhand, jumps and throws, does everything he can do, but just pulls the second baseman Pirtle off the bag just enough.
That should be another base hit.
Yeah, because, I mean, the way it's supposed to read, I mean, there's no way with Stevenson's speed that the shortstop Heck could throw him out in that situation.
Oh, my goodness. They've called an error on that. That is a leaping throw. That's well above normal effort.
And then that's how the rule book reads, Lynn. You're exactly right. Extraordinary play, and that certainly is an extraordinary play.
Here's Sean McMullen, and he dribbles one foul pass first. Let's go back and look at the play by the shortstop, Seth Heck. He made a heck of a play to get to it.
Yep, does everything.
And then a very acrobatic play just to get the throw to second base.
That's a tough error right there.
We shall soldier on, sir. One ball, one strike. 1 out, 2 on. McMullen walked to open the game for the Tigers and then was picked off first base. He chased one there. That doesn't happen a lot.
Mississippi State, again, just like last year, one of the top fielding teams in the country. Top 5 in the country last year in turning double plays. And they're looking for one right now.
Mississippi State, there's a nice grab in the stands. That's what you bring your leather for.
Yeah. Good day today, too, because
now you got to give it to the little guy, though.
take a look at it right here. Oh, good catch.
Nice reaching catch, Pop. Now the little guy's got the ball.
Yeah, now he's telling how he did it. He's telling everybody, well, that's what I had to do. I had to judge it. It was spinning backwards. You know, I had to bend over to catch it. Tough play for me, but I made it.
LSU will stop its runners after 90 feet as Sean McMullen goes the other way with a liner to left.
Nice piece of hitting by McMullen right there. Gets a fastball kind of up out over the plate. Doesn't try to pull it, just hammers it the other way. Good read by Ibarra, too. So he just won out, so Ibarra's at second. He's got to make sure that line drive goes through. He can't be aggressive on that. That's a good swing right there. Stays inside. See his hands go first right there. Barrels it up and just drives it the other way. Good piece of hitting.
Here's Laird. He walked and he scored on a base hit by Tyler Moore.
Another opportunity for LSU. You know, bases loaded, just one out. LSU's got to find a way here. Although they made a couple of mistakes, a little bit of a base running, got picked off, you know, in the first inning. Still, you got to get Tyler Moore, Connor Hale a lot of credit in that first inning. They found a way to get RBI singles. So LSU's in another situation. You got to take advantage of these situations.
This is the first time that Mark Laird has batted with the bases loaded this year.
That's unusual. Well, you got a lot of options here. You got a pretty good bunter at the plate. Ibarra runs above average at third. You can let him drive them in, try to hit a sac fly or a ground ball, or you can put a safety squeeze on.
That's a fair ball. And Laird is going to run a while. The umpire is going to see where the ball is, and that's going to be a two-base ruling because the ball appeared to get hung up in the tarp.
Right.
And Palmineri now is going to come out and say, where was the ball?
Right. That's a very smart play by the left fielder, Vickerson. He knew that that was a possibility. The ball did jump in the tarp, but he didn't even go for it because once he reaches for it and makes that attempt to go get it, everything's off then. But if he says, hey, I can't find the ball, it's in the tarp, then it's going to be an automatic ground rule double, and only 2 runs are going to score instead of 3 that would have scored. And you got to go argue it. Watch the ball closer. You'll see it right here. It's going to bounce right up off the mound, and watch it. It hits the rake in the water cooler, and then it comes back. And you can see the ball. There's the ball right there. But you see... you see what Vickerson did? Watch Vickerson. See, it hits the bench and the seat. It rolls right there. And the ball, you can, from the other angle that we saw, we can see it. But Vickerson then steps on it and covers it up even more. That's pretty good play by Vickerson. That's how to win right there. See him step on it and kind of cover it up, because before that, it wasn't covered up.
But that is the proper ruling on the ground rules that are discussed prior to the game. We've had a lot of nuances in this game early, haven't we?
We have. But, you know, it's been LSU that's come up with the big hits. I mean, 2 singles in the first inning, and then there's a double by Laird right there for
That's
2
his
RBIs.
5th double of the season. And the Tigers have 5 base hits. They should have 6. I just can't give it up, though.
Yeah, y'all know that. I'm with you on that. That is, as hard as hits are to come by for everybody in college these days, I wish the scorekeepers would pay a little more attention to those extraordinary type plays.
I'm not asking for charity. I thought that was a legitimate hit.
I did too.
Alex Bregman with a count of 1 strike, 2 in scoring position. The Tigers with 2 in the first and 2 in the second. Infield drawn tight. And Bregman takes a breaking ball that sweeps a little bit wide.
Another one of these situations, just 1 out, runner at third base, opportunity. You know, and Mississippi State now has got the infield drawn in. They're saying we can't afford to give up any more runs. They're going to try to cut it off at the plate if they can.
This is popped up right side. Ray in foul ground makes the play behind first base. Bregman fails to deliver with runners at second and third, and there are now 2 outs.
Well, you know, Bregman's not hitting quite as good as he did last year. And for me, that's the difference that I see in him. Maybe reaching for a few more balls. You know, when he's going well, like most hitters, they can take the pitch on the outside part of the plate. They can drive it to the opposite field. But when you get a little bit out in front as a hitter, you know, it's hard to do that. And that's all. I mean, his swing looks great. He's just pulling off the baseball just a tad, and he'll make that correction, make that adjustment.
Gage Savick has been very good with runners in scoring position this year. He's 12 for 29. That's a .414 clip. He walked and scored in the first. Ball 1. Seth Heck will have to throw it to first base, and he's on the money. But the Tigers follow 2 runs in the first with 2 more in the second. And we go to the third on a gray day in Baton Rouge. 4-0 LSU. LSU baseball on. A pair in the first and a pair in the second for the Tigers, who have 5 base hits, looking for the sweep against Mississippi State this afternoon. 4-0. Let's go down to Ronnie Rance in the LSU dugout. Ronnie?
Yeah, thanks, Lynn. Down here in the dugout, Coach Maneri normally joins us right now, but he's meeting behind the dugout. But, you know, guys, this is with the rain situation. Ben, I got a great story for you. Back in 1992, LSU, we played Tennessee in a 3-game series, and that Sunday, like today, it was an 80%, 100% chance of rain. So Coach Bertman, I got the start. Coach Bertman told me, hey, we got to hurry up. We got to get this in. You know, we got to get it in so we get the 5 innings and get the victory. I give up no runs in the first 2 innings. We scored 10 in the bottom of the second. We were up 10-0. I go out on the mound the top of the third. Coach Bertman tells me, hey, Ray, it's all fastballs. We got to hurry up and get this game going. I give up back-to-back doubles. It's 10-1 LSU over Tennessee with no outs, runner at second. He comes to the mound, hooks me, takes me out of the game. And I go, Coach, what's going on? Why are we doing this? We're up 10-1. Hey, we got to hurry this one up. He brings in David Harry, who was a curveball pitcher, gives him the ball, walks off the mound and says, hey, Harry, all curveballs. walks back to the dugout. We win the game like 13-11 in 9 innings. The rain never came.
Oh, my goodness.
And Ronnie didn't get the win either. He only went a couple of innings.
Yeah. You know, and I've seen Coach Bertman and other coaches do that. You know, I mean, you get a lead, 3 or 4 run lead, he'll go up and tell the guys to strike out. Hey, swing at everything. Let's try to make out and rotate it around and get it in. And I mean, this is a situation, you know, most SEC games can't end, but the getaway day Sunday today can end after 5 full innings. So LSU just got to get it in.
Well, Kyle Bowman certainly is happy over the run support he's received early in this game.
But that's always a danger to Ronnie's point is you don't change what you do. I mean, no matter what the situation is, if you're a pitcher that works slow, you can't go out there and try to work fast and vice versa. You know, you got to stick with your game plan no matter what the situation is if you're going to be effective.
Alex Detz strikes out swinging. Bowman has fanned 3 Bulldogs. And here's Wes Ray, who has struck out 5 times in 9 at-bats in this series.
Yeah, LSU has pitched Wes Ray really good. They've tied him up inside, made him conscious of the ball in, and they've thrown some breaking balls behind it. And they've pitched him backwards at times, too. Started him off with breaking balls to get ahead and finished him inside. That's just a good pitch. Wes Ray was, you know, a 4-star recruit coming out of, you know, in the state of Mississippi. He was one of the best football offensive linemen there were in the entire state. One of the top ones ranked, and decided not to play football, wanted to play baseball instead. And, you know, when you're in a funk like that, I mean, that's what happens. You paint it on the outside corner with a changeup, and then you get a fastball that's just right below the knees on the outside corner, too. Makes it really tough to hit, because nobody hits those pitches well.
Ray goes down on strikes again.
That's just a great piece of hitting right, or pitching right there. I mean, pitching coach Alan Dunn's got it figured out 2 away. Then he ties him up kind of up and in with a good hard fastball. Watch it. I mean, that ball just got him beat right there. And like most big guys like Wes Ray, if you can get that fastball up and in a little bit, most of them have a hole right there. The danger with going up and in is if you miss and don't get it in and you miss up and out over the plate, lots of times they can hit it out in the seats out there.
Here's Pirtle, a right-handed batter with a wide crouched stance. LSU will play Wednesday against Lamar here in Alex Box Stadium. That's a 6:30 start. And then the Tigers will be back home against Arkansas on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The first and third games will be available on Cox Sports TV. So we'll be here with our CST cameras Friday and Sunday. ESPN2 has the game on Saturday. Arkansas and LSU next weekend in this ballpark.
Yeah, and Arkansas is coming off a big series win, beat South Carolina 2 of 3 this weekend. A lot of people think South Carolina is probably the best overall team in the SEC, but Arkansas beat them 2 out of 3. You know, we were talking about that. There's no, you know, last year, you know, Vanderbilt went 26-3, won the East by 9 games. LSU won the West by 5 games last year. You're not going to see that this year. It's just so much parity. Mississippi State, again, was the only SEC school coming into this, the 4th SEC series, that won all 3 of their series. And, you know, obviously they've already lost this series, and so there's not one team in the SEC that's won all 4 of their SEC series. So it's just a lot of evenly matched teams this year. You know, if anything, I think it's been a surprise. Nobody really expected Alabama to be leading the West. They played, you know, really well. Mitch Gaspard over there's got his team playing well. Auburn came in number 2. They've dropped a couple of games. They've dropped down a little bit in the West. They were a little bit of a surprise as well, as they were picked to finish dead last in the West.
Derek Armstrong at the plate following the 2-out base hit by Brett Pirtle. 1 ball, 1 strike from Kyle Bowman. That light rain, which was falling a few minutes ago, has subsided. The umbrellas have been put away, so have the slickers for the most part, and folks are returning to the bleachers.
Yeah, it's actually lightened back up a little bit. Sun trying to peek out.
They don't need those slickers right now.
No, but it's Louisiana, and so they're going to keep them on because it's probably going to come again at some point.
Armstrong does not hit well with runners on base. Only 139, 474 when there's nobody on base. And he rolls out, and we move on. LSU leads 4-0. LSU baseball on Cox Sports Television is brought to you by Window World, America's #1 window replacement company. By Slap Ya Mama Cajun Seasoning, 100% Cajun certified products. And by the Star CCA Tournament, 101 days of fishing and $500,000 in prizes at ccastar.com. No runs, 3 hits. I just can't say 1 error against Mississippi State because it shouldn't have been. 4 runs, 5 hits, should have been 6. No errors for LSU. All right, I'm giving it up.
5.5. 5.5 hits for LSU.
Tyler Moore, Connor Hale, and Jake Fraley for LSU against Dakota Hudson.
Well, you got to think this might be the end for Hudson. You know, he's kind of been his own worst enemy. 3 walks, actually, in the first inning. LSU scored 2 runs, and then the next inning he didn't walk anybody, but gave up 3 base hits. Should have been 4.
Jonathan Holder is warming up for Ole Miss. They've had somebody up in every inning throwing casually. Or for Mississippi State. I'm thinking Ole Miss because the Bulldogs and Ole Miss play next weekend.
That'll be a big series. Of course, they're all big in the SEC. I mean, it's just it's the nature of it. Like football, it's the deepest conference. The SEC baseball is the deepest conference in all of college baseball. Shows in the polls every weekend. No less than 8 or 9 teams out of 14 ranked in the top 25 every week in the SEC. It's just good quality baseball.
3-1 pitch, nubbed out in front of the plate. Randolph jumps on it and makes a nice play to get Tyler Moore. Folks aren't exactly elbow to elbow here today, but LSU has sold 204,327 tickets to baseball. Mississippi State, 130,187. South Carolina, 125,610. The beat goes on. The SEC, by far the most popular baseball league in America, and the Tigers for 18 consecutive years have led the country in folks coming out to watch LSU baseball.
You know, it's one of them things you take for granted, but when you say that 18 years in a row led the nation in attendance, you know, averaged over 10,000 per game. And by the way, that's the top 3. The other 4 and 5 are also SEC schools, Arkansas and Ole Miss. And so the top 5 attendance in all of college baseball are all 5 in the SEC.
2 quick outs. Moore has tapped out catcher to first. Hale hit the ball hard, but Armstrong, the center fielder, caught the liner. The Tigers have not been retired, obviously, in order so far, having scored 2 in the first, 2 in the second. You know, Ben, we just showed you some of the youngsters out at the ballpark, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, at the ball yard every time LSU plays. But that's the future of this game. That's where the legacy starts, and that's what baseball, I think, as a sport, does better than any other sport. That legacy where the mother or the father or the grandfather or the grandmother can take the youngsters to the ballpark. And so it goes, generation through generation.
That's right. And, you know, and if you're a kid that grows up around here, you know, playing football, baseball, or basketball, I mean, how could you not want to play in this environment or across the street over there? You know, baseball is a great way to visit.
You find a better picture than the one we just showed you. This drops into the left field corner. Base hit by Jake Fraley. He was robbed of a base hit back in the second, and he saws one off into left field for a base knock.
It normally evens out. Sometimes you hit 2 line drives. I mean, look at Mississippi State's leadoff guy, Seth Heck. I mean, he's hit the ball as hard as you can hit it 2 times in a row, and he's 0 for 2. He's hit the ball right to people. But somewhere along the line, he'll get a blooper that'll fall in, leaving things out. But you're right, Lynn. I mean, you know, baseball games are a great way to visit with youngsters. Bring them to the ballpark, let them run around a little bit. I know Mind is here somewhere. He's not so little anymore, but he's running around here aggravating somebody, I'm sure.
Two outs, a runner at first. Baseball is also a game where you get to know your neighbors, because you can carry on a conversation during a baseball game. And bankers and plumbers are going to find something in common.
Absolutely.
It's a terrific game, and I think we get caught up in the instant gratification part of sports way too much. And baseball is one of those games where you can, for a very reasonable price, come out and enjoy yourself for 3 hours at the ball yard, make some friends, come back when you can, and just sort of enjoy the environment.
Absolutely. Dangerous situation right here for Hudson. Got a dead red fastball hitter and a dead red count.
Ooh. Ibarra is hit by that pitch. And I think that got him on the right forearm.
Yeah, he was getting it going, because you got to get it going off Hudson because he throws so hard. And when you get those hands going, you get them exposed out in front. Check it out. I mean, he's going to get it swing started right there, and then he just can't stop it. You get him exposed. I got him right on the right forearm. This would be a good look at it right here. All right, see that right elbow and forearm right off of it right there.
I'm sure he would have preferred to take that one higher up on the forearm. That was, or higher down, I guess. That was close to the elbow. There's a lot of bone there, and that's a stinger.
You know, you face a guy that throws in the low to mid 90s. You want to start your swing, you have to, especially in a fastball count. You know it's coming, so Ibarra's getting out there and getting it going. And lots of times, you know, you want to turn that left shoulder if you can and take it on the forearm. But once you get your swing started, you just can't do that. You can't stop it. Looks like he's all right.
So after the quick orthopedic examination, Ibarra will stay in the game. There is bullpen activity for Mississippi State. And we are going to have our first reliever of the afternoon to face Andrew Stevenson. So Dakota Hudson is gone after 2 2/3 innings. Our Northwestern Mutual pitching change is underway. LSU 4, Mississippi State nothing in the third. Mississippi State has brought Jonathan Holder out of the bullpen, and this big guy throws hard.
Oh, yeah, he was the back end of the bullpen last year for him. Had a lot of saves, set the record at Mississippi State in saves, and big reason why they made it so far last year. He's in, hadn't pitched, but you look at his number, hadn't pitched in this series, but 23 strikeouts, 6 walks, very good on that end. You know, he hurt his finger a little bit and blew a couple saves early in the year. He had some swelling in, one of the fingers on his pitching hand, and so he wasn't as effective as he was last year. But it's certainly because not of his stuff. He was just injured a little bit and tried to pitch through it. But he's healthy now, and ever since he's got that finger well, he's been dominant again.
You know, Lynn, this is interesting to bring in your closer at this point in the game, but with the threat of rain and the fact that this game is probably going to not go 9, at some point the rain is going to come and it's going to stay here. There's a sense of urgency to try to go win it right now. They've got to shut down LSU's momentum right now and hope they can get some offense. So that's why you're seeing Holder, one of the nation's best closers in the game, in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, and you're right, Ronnie. You never want to go through a series and not use your best pitcher. And that's a good situation because, I mean, it's going to be a shortened game. So Mississippi State's trying to shorten it, and they know as well with a 4-run lead right now. 4 runs in today's game is like a normal 6 or 7 run lead, and so they got to stop the bleeding right now. You bring in your best guy, you shut it down if you can, and you give your offense an opportunity.
Dakota Hudson lasted 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 6 hits, walked 3, didn't strike out anybody, and hit a batter. Holder to Stevenson, with Fraley at second base and Ibarra on first. The Tigers got a 2-out base hit to left field by Fraley, and Ibarra was hit by a pitch. A strike at the knees.
And that's Holder's out pitch. I mean, he possesses above average fastball. His fastball is going to be in the low 90s, but his equalizer and probably his best pitch is that big overhand curveball that he has.
You know, fellas, I'm wondering, this is the first time we've seen Holder from a year ago. I don't know if you've seen him, Ben, since, but last year he had the Kenny Powers look going. He had the long mullet hair, and, it worked. Now, the old Bible, the Samson, they cut the hair off. Is the strength gone? Is he the same pitcher without the Kenny Powers look? I mean, this is our first chance of seeing him in 2014.
Well, both him and Wes Ray, Ronnie, last year I had them in a super regional over in Virginia. They were some big old beards and long hair and all that kind of stuff going. Both of them cleaned it up a little bit this year.
Holder, a 6'2", 242-pound junior from Gulfport. The 0-2 pitch is off the plate and downstairs.
Yeah, both Ray and Holder, both from the Gulfport area, I think, and you're right. That's 2 big old boys. I'd hate to have that feed bill at the end of the day between those 2.
That's a lot of cornbread and sweet milk.
Woo.
The outfield shallow for Stevenson, and straight away, and he drops one into center field. Armstrong comes up firing, and it is not in time. Sliding under the tag is Jake Fraley. A clutch base hit by Andrew Stevenson at the bottom of the order, and the Tigers add to their lead with a 2-out rally.
Well, that's been the difference in this series. LSU has found ways to get those clutch base hits. They did it in the first inning. They got a couple of base hits with 2 out, drove in runs. And here they are again. Andrew Stevenson gets a fastball down, not a bad pitch, but laces it out to center field. I tell you what, a good strong throw by Armstrong goes all the way home to Randolph, and I mean just under the tag is Jake Fraley. It's a good look at it. He definitely beat it home.
Holder works a strike to Sean McMullen. Sean has walked and singled at the top of the order. McMullen pokes one the other way, and it is over the head of Jake Dickerson. Sean McMullen stops at second base with an RBI double. That ball was a bit deceptive for Jake Dickerson. It appeared that he would be able to retreat and catch it.
Well, maybe a little bit of that wind, and we got a shot of that wind. It's blowing hard out toward left center field, and I think Dickerson got fooled just a little bit. The ball off the left-handed bat of McMullen, kind of slicing and carrying that way, and just gets right over the head of Dickerson for yet another huge 2-out hit for LSU. The bats have woken up for LSU, that's for sure.
LSU with 7 hits today.
Yeah, he'll do it.
Should have been 8.
Yeah, you get him, Jim.
12 in the first 2 games. That's out of play. Off the bat of Mark Laird.
LSU's approach has been really good this game. You know, the ball's been pitched away. They're hitting it away. We've seen 3 or 4 base hits to the opposite field, including that one from McMullen right there. So I've liked their approach from the beginning. And that man right there, Coach Maneri's got to be happy about what he sees from his offense. The pitching's been outstanding. I mean, it's just 3rd best pitching staff in the SEC coming in. No earned runs coming into this ball game, and 18 innings pitched in the first 2 games for LSU.
Laird got tied up, but the pitch was too far inside. 7 runs, 8 hits for the Tigers. And these 3 runs here in the 3rd have come with 2 outs and the bases empty. After Moore and Hale were retired, Fraley dumped a base hit to left. Ibarra was hit by a pitch. Stevenson singled in a run, and McMullen has cleaned up with a double.
Isn't it amazing how fast it can change? I mean, 2 outs and nobody on, and all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, LSU has 3 runs. See that ball hitting Laird right on the instep, right on the inside. He already has a pad right there on his right foot. That ball got him down in the shoe.
Hurdle, bobbles it, picks it up, and still gets his man. LSU scores 3 in the 3rd. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the 3rd for the Tigers, and they've got a 7-0 lead looking for the sweep against Mississippi State. The 4th inning comes into your living rooms next on CST.
Welcome back to Alex Box Stadium, where LSU leads Mississippi State right now 7-0 as we play in the top of the 4th. Joining me right now is the skipper for the Bulldogs, John Cohen. And Coach, you got a freshman that you put out on the mound today, first SEC start. Talk about Hudson and his bright future.
Well, we think he's going to be a good one. He's certainly got velocity, a good breaking ball. You know, he threw a lot of really close pitches in the first and walked 3 guys, and essentially that got LSU going. But he's going to be a good one and very athletic. And, you know, he's just learning right now and, you know, on the road in the SEC.
80% chance of rain today. You know it's coming. Does that make you coach differently?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, we just feel like you got to pretend like it's not even going to happen. And you really don't because, you know, you just got to act like it's not going to rain at all and move forward with it, especially on a Sunday in the last game of the series.
All right, good luck the rest of the way in this season.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Let's go back to Lynn and Ben.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. The 2-0 pitch to DeMarcus Henderson. Swung on and lifted to right field. This should be routine for Mark Laird. There's out number 1. And I was talking with the LSU coaches prior to the game, and they mentioned that Kyle Bowman would go somewhere between 3 and 5 innings. We're in the 4th right now. And there is a right-hander just starting to loosen up in the LSU bullpen, probably more precautionary than anything.
That looks like Parker Bugg, the young freshman reliever.
Jake Vickerson is now 2 for 2. He had a beautiful drag bunt for a base hit last time. And on the full swing, he finds the hole on the right side.
Yeah, Mississippi State's had a couple of opportunities, you know, especially there in the 2nd inning, but couldn't find a way. You know, that's kind of been the story for them in this series, you know, and the reason why they're struggling scoring runs. LSU, on the other hand, has gotten the big 2-out base hits, you know, and found ways to get those runs home.
Gavin Collins was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. There's a strike.
pretty good pitch. A little backdoor breaking ball. And LSU's got the big lead now, Lynn. And, of course, you got to get to 5 innings on Sunday to complete it, you know. So, you know, one of the things if you're Coach Manera, you try to hurry up and hope you get through this inning with nothing. And I almost go tell my hitters, hey, swing at everything the next inning. Let's get back out to the 5th inning as fast as we can and make this game official with a 7-run lead. But Mississippi State keep hitting it like that, you're not going to be able to do it.
Collins rolls one all the way to the wall. And this is going to produce the first run of the game for Mississippi State. He pokes a double into the left center field gap.
Oh, he got all of that one. Stretch it out. Dickerson scored from first base. Easily. Just a missed spot right there. You see that ball more middle of the plate and up. Wanted it away and left it middle up. And I tell you what, Collins did a good job. Didn't miss it and drives it out to the left center field gap. And once it got way out there, no doubt Dickerson right there that was going to score from first base.
Parker Bugg is putting a little more urgency into his warm-up throws in the bullpen.
2 base hits in a row, only one of which was hit hard.
We're in the 4th inning in Baton Rouge. It's brought to you by GMFS Lending, your lender for life, changing lives one mortgage at a time. And here comes Paul Maneri, so this might be the end of the day for Kyle Bowman.
Yeah, remember, you know, he'd been hurt, ankle. Been a while. It was the Vanderbilt series. He got his last start. That was way back in mid-March, 3 weeks ago.
But Kyle Bowman, making his first start since the injury, pitched well in 3 1/3 innings.
Absolutely. I mean, he made some big pitches. We saw a live fastball up in the upper 80s. 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk.
Here's our Northwestern Mutual pitching change. Parker Bugg replaces Kyle Bowman. LSU has a 7-1 lead over Mississippi State.
Welcome back to Alex Box Stadium. LSU on top of Mississippi State 7-1. The Tigers go to the bullpen, bring in an outstanding freshman, Parker Bugg, out of San Diego, California, 0-1 this year with an ERA just over 1. He's really has an important role for LSU. He's the setup guy to get to Joe Broussard, but his role has been growing. He's been working a little bit longer each and every outing. And, Ben, this is a guy that's very important for LSU. If they're going to have success late in the year, Parker Bugg is going to be one of the main go-to guys out of the bullpen.
Oh, I think he has to be. You know, you got to have those setup guys down there. And, of course, he is the bridge that gets you to your closer, Broussard, you know. And there's some other guys down there that's going to have roles, lefty on lefty, righty on righty. But he's been good, Ronnie. I mean, for a freshman, he's done a nice job for LSU and really has probably the best arm down there besides Broussard's.
Parker Bugg will face Zach Randolph. Bugg has pitched in every SEC series now. He threw an inning and a third at Vanderbilt. He got 4 innings in against Georgia in a relief role. He threw an inning and 2/3 at Florida. And his last outing was an inning in relief against McNeese a few days ago. Bugg has struck out 15 in 17 innings.
Ooh, good breaking ball right there. Nice job laying off by Zach Randolph. Yep, he held off of that.
Parker Bugg has only walked 2 batters in 17 1/3 innings. 2-1 pitch. Downstairs, 3-1.
Well, that's what's made LSU's pitching staff so good, Lynn, for the most part of the year. You know, they've had their struggles like everybody does from time to time, but have been very consistent for the most part, but throw a lot of strikes. Relievers come in and they throw strikes.
In Bugg's first 11 appearances, he did not walk a batter. 3-1 is a quick fastball strike. (7-1) LSU. The Tigers with 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and 3 in the third. Mississippi State has cracked through with an RBI double by Collins. And Bug strikes out Randolph looking. Parker Bug gets Zach Randolph. He had to come from behind in the count to do it.
What an outstanding pitch. Ran the count 3-2, and look at this ball. Wants it away, and I mean, just, it might have been a few inches off the outside corner, but certainly a pitch with 2 strikes that you can't take.
Back to the top of the order for Seth Heck, who has hit the ball very hard twice, but has nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
He has lined out to the right fielder. And with the bases loaded in the second inning, he lined out to Tyler Moore, who had to lunge to his left to catch the liner.
That's exactly right, and that's been the difference in this ball game. If that ball he hit with the bases loaded a little bit further down the line right there, it probably goes for a triple, unloads the bases, and it's a totally different game. LSU's found a way again to get a few big base hits, and Mississippi State just has squandered a couple of opportunities. Well, I mean, again, you got to give LSU's pitching a lot of credit. LSU's made some pitches also when they have gotten the jams.
1 ball, 1 strike on the Mississippi State shortstop, Seth Heck. Collins takes his lead from second base after the RBI double. And here we go, Bug to Heck. Laird waits for it. He squeezes it. And the Bulldogs are done in the 4th. They get a run. LSU leads by 6 on CST. Welcome back, everyone. We play in the 4th. This inning brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products, Excellence in Imaging Solutions. Here is our Gulf Coast Office Products fact of the game. Aaron Nola's season earned run average of 0.47 is not the lowest in a single season at LSU. Rick Farizo had a 0.21 ERA in 1970, 1 earned run in 41 2/3 innings.
Wow. That might have been back in the wood bat days, 1970s. I've been swinging some wood back in this. I know they used to swing some wood. These bats today is
1 run in 41 innings, though.
Yeah, that's pretty good in tape ball, wiffle ball, spit ball, whatever you want to call it. That's pretty amazing.
Alex Bregman is 0 for 2. He opens the 4th inning for the Tigers. There's the first out. Miles Gentry is the new pitcher. Gentry, the side slinger, has to duck off the line drive from Cade Civic. So Civic with a walk and a run scored and a ground out and a single back up the middle. And let's check in with Ronnie Rance. Ronnie?
Thanks, Lynn. Down here with Hall of Fame coach Skip Bertman behind the plate. And, you know, Coach, earlier, you're not going to remember this, but earlier I told the story back in 1992. We were playing Tennessee in a 3-game series, and that Sunday you told us, you said, look, there's a 100% chance of rain. I swear to God, we got to hurry up and get this game in. We got to get 5 innings. We had a 10-0 lead after 2 innings. I was pitching. I give up, you'd say, Rance, all fastballs. We got to hurry it up. I give up back-to-back doubles. It's 10-1, runner at second, no outs. You came out and hooked me. You hooked me. You brought in David Harry. You told him all curves. We won the game, I think, 13, 11, and 9. The rain never came. So, Coach, you owe me a victory.
I'll tell you, I hope I was a better coach than meteorologist. But at any rate, things happen in Tennessee. We got rain. We got snowed out one year in April. So Tennessee's always been a place where, I thought like this really north.
Coach, so far this weekend, big weekend for the Tigers. They're on their way, it looks like, to a possible sweep. Talk about how this team turned it around from a week ago.
Coach Ranieri told me over lunch, we've been too passive at the plate. We got to turn it loose. And while the first two games were 3-0, 2-1, they did have better swings. Today, the swings resulted, 9 hits so far, and of course 7 runs. So I think Coach Ranieri and Javi Sanchez, you got together. Meantime, the LSU pitching is just phenomenal. There you go. Another hard hit ball. The pitching again with LSU is 207 against them, all of them. So they've turned it around quite a bit. Paul deserves a lot of credit.
One last question, Coach. We've got Ben McDonald up in the booth. He can hear you. Aaron Nola on Friday night just did what Aaron Nola does. Another unbelievable performance. He's quickly getting into the conversation of best LSU pitcher ever. Now, I know that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But how good is Nola?
He's real good. He's not as good as Ben McDonald was. In my mind, it didn't even contest. McDonald was the first pitcher picked in the draft. There's no chance that Nola will be in the first pick in the draft by Houston. Not to knock him. He's terrific. On the other hand, Ben, you were with me. He got beat the only way he can get beat. 2 guys that don't hit homers, each hit 1. And we didn't score anything 2-1. That's the only way he can get beat.
Yeah, Nola's a good one. Coach, enjoy the rest of the ball game. Good seeing you.
Good to see you, Ronnie.
All right, let's go back up to Lynn and Ben.
Well, there's a man who has seen thousands of baseball games in his career and always has a very engaging and interesting perspective.
He's a genius. He really is, and you can tell story after story after story. One of my favorites is he used to call it the inevitable 2. And when a freshman guy for us would take the mound, he'd look down as we were warming up before the game and just taking his warm pitches, and he'd look at the dugout and he'd say, see, so-and-so here is going to give up 2 runs. He's going to walk the first guy, and then somebody will get a base hit, and he'll get a couple outs, and then somebody will make an error, and he'll get a base hit, and 2 runs will score. And we'd always look at him like, this old man's crazy. There's no way that he can say what's fixing to happen before. And I'd be dang if it wouldn't almost happen exactly. And he turned in the dugout and he'd go, McDonald, 26 years. He said, I've seen it all. And finally I got to believe, be a believer in what he would say, because it almost happened to a T. But you're right, he's seen so much baseball in his days and coach guys. It's almost weird how he could predict what was going to happen.
I think Skip Bertman, better than anybody I've ever seen, understands percentages and how they play out. Maybe not in a single game, but over the course of the season.
Absolutely.
That's a heck of a play by Miles Gentry, the new pitcher, to keep LSU off the scoreboard for the first time. But LSU leads 7-1 as we head to the 5th in Baton Rouge.
Welcome back, Tigers on top 7-1 as we play here in the top of the 5th. Joining me right here is head coach Paul Maneri in the LSU dugout. Coach, offensively, 7 runs, 10 hits. This is a really big day.
Well, we've had some good at-bats. Our leaders have stepped up. McMullen, Laird, Savick. They've all had some really good at-bats against some good pitchers. So really proud of the way the guys are playing. But as you know, Ronnie, we've got a long way to go.
After last weekend, you said you were going to turn the offense loose a little bit more. What does that mean?
Just not take as many pitches. I just wanted the kids to become more aggressive and go up there and attack the ball, and I think we're doing that a lot.
It definitely has worked. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, Ron.
Let's go up to Lynn and Ben.
Alex Detz, Wes Ray, Brett Pirtle against Parker Bug. Here in the 5th, Bug came on with 1 out and 2 aboard in the 4th and struck out Randolph and then got Heck on a fly ball to right field. The 2-1 from the big right-handed freshman. That's sucked up by Connor Hale for the out. We're in the 5th in Baton Rouge, and this frame is brought to you by Atmos Energy. the largest natural gas provider in the state of Louisiana. Mark Grant, our producer today, Walter Volpatti, providing the shots in the director's chair with Ben McDonald and Ronnie Rance. I'm Lynn Rollins, and we are delighted to have you in our audience today. Thanks for letting us in your living rooms on CST. Here's Big Wes Ray, and this has been a series that he would like to flush in a hurry because he has struck out 6 times in this series, does not have a base hit. He's a much better hitter than that.
Absolutely. That's what makes baseball such a tough game. I mean, it's a game that, you know, you fail a lot at, especially as a hitter. You know, you fail 70% of the time, and you're one of the best around if you're hitting 300. And we've seen Alex Bregman struggle from time to time this year, and Wes Ray is really in a struggle right now.
He fans for the 3rd time today. So Wes Ray walks slowly back to the dugout. Sometimes you get into a situation where you can't hit sand if you fall off a camel.
And that's where he's at right now. I don't know if it even matters what pitch you throw to him, just in one of those funks right now that you just got to hit your way out of. You got to go up there and you got to keep being aggressive and try to swing at strikes, and eventually you'll roll out of it. But, you know, you hate for it to happen, but it happens to every hitter throughout a season. It always starts out, you know, even for a pitcher or a fielder or a hitter, it starts out as a physical, you know, mechanic thing, and then it kind of becomes a mental at some point, you know, because you start to struggle, then you start to say, well, it's this, it's that, I got to change this or that, and all of a sudden it can snowball on you a little bit. And that's where you got to be a smarter guy and say, hey, I got to get back to what makes me successful.
I would hate to be the pitching staff, though, next week, Ole Miss facing Ray, because he's going to be burning a little bit, and you know he's going to make some adjustments during the week.
Absolutely. He's going to come out of it, and when it's just like Bregman. You know, Bregman's too good of a hitter. He's going to come out of it at some point, and somebody's going to pay for it down the line. Well, the same way with Wes Ray. You know, he's too good of a hitter. He proved it last year. Somebody's going to pay for it at some point down the road.
Hurdle reaches on the strikeout.
There's Big Wes there. You can see the frustration on his face. You know, there's a million things going through his mind, and that's only normal when you start to struggle. You know, am I striding too much? Am I dropping my hands? Am I pulling my front shoulder off? There's a million things he's fighting right now.
Let's go back and look at the strikeout. And Savic couldn't handle it behind the plate.
He swung when the ball hit him.
He did swing.
Yeah, the ball.
That is a strikeout. And now the wild pitch. And so they got it right. So that's a strikeout on a wild pitch, and Pirtle, realizing that he had swung even though he was hit by the pitch, ran down to first base. Once you swing, it doesn't matter if you're hit by that pitch. The ball is able to be played.
Yeah, Lynn, obviously Palmineri thought it was a foul ball, or at least asked about it. That's why he went to the plate, trying to get a call there to keep put the batter back at the plate. Instead, it was the right call. I think we showed it on the replay that he did swing and miss the ball.
That's the second strikeout for Parker Bugg. 6 on the day for Bowman and Bugg combined. Derek Armstrong is 0 for 2. He has rolled out twice. 7-1 LSU. This game will be official on the next out by Mississippi State. You know, Ben, I bet if it were raining, Palmineri wouldn't have been out there looking for a discussion or an explanation.
And they'd be hollering at Bug to get going, throw strikes, make them make out. Let's make this game official. Let's get 5 innings in. It's an official ball game. Then it can rain all it wants to at that point.
Armstrong finds the gap. He's held at first base. Pirtle moving on contact with 2 outs. steams into third. And Derek Armstrong collects his first base hit. Bug yields his first base hit.
There's no quit in Mississippi State. You know, they're going through a rough time right now, but they're not going to quit. A lot of experience, a lot of expectations. Remember, Mississippi State was picked right there with LSU to win the West. Some folks said Mississippi State would win it. Some people thought LSU would win the West. John Cohen got a pinch hitter coming up.
This is C.T. Bradford batting for DeMarcus Henderson. Bradford has had 4 at-bats in this series with 1 start. He's 0 for 4. He comes to the plate with runners on the corners and 2 outs in the top half of the 5th inning. Parker Bug delivers the 1-strike pitch. Redmond can't make the pickup on the backhanded side, and Mississippi State gets its 2nd run of the game.
Yeah, that ball was melted. I'm talking about hit hard right on the nose. 2 balls in a row. Take a look at it right here. Just hit right on the barrel, and Bregman didn't quite have time to get in front of it as it hit so hard, so he tries to backhand it. And once that ball hopped right there, that was going to be a great play if he would have made it.
That's truly a do-or-die play.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like coming in for a ground ball on a swinging bunt, you know, kind of hit. You got to all or nothing. Either you come up and you make it or you don't.
Bradford is credited with a base hit, and here is Jake Vickerson, who's 2 for 2, including a bunt base hit, and then rolled a ground ball single to right last time. Both bullpens are idle right now. The wind continues to blow and seems to be picking up in intensity from right to left. It's getting a little chillier at the ballpark, too.
It definitely feels like it's cooling off. But you're right, that wind's blowing.
It's rolled out to Hale. Bug struck out Ray, but then a strikeout wild pitch, a base hit by Armstrong, and a pinch hit base hit by Henderson. Three balls and no strikes. And a 4-pitch pass by Bug. So it's starting to become a little unbuttoned here for LSU, and that's going to get the bullpen going.
Absolutely. I mean, Mississippi State's too good of a team. I mean, they're not going to stay down too long, and eventually they're going to come up with some big hits with 2 outs. And this is another good example. I mean, one swing right now makes it a 1-run ball game.
Well, Alan Dunn, LSU's pitching coach, goes to the mound to talk it over with Parker Bug. And the Tigers got a right-hander throwing in the bullpen. Alden Cartwright is throwing in the bullpen for the Tigers. He just now started, so it'll be a while before he's ready. We invite you to stay with CST next weekend for some of the best SEC matchups in the Gulf South. First, the Tigers host Arkansas Friday night. That's at 6:30 Central Time. Saturday, starting at 1 o'clock Central, it's a softball doubleheader. South Carolina at Arkansas, followed by Georgia at LSU. And on Sunday, we're back with the Arkansas-LSU baseball game at 1 o'clock Central Time. All of it on Cox Sports TV.
And if you want to see Arkansas, you'll see another 2 teams that can pitch next weekend. Not a whole lot of offense typically by either one of the you know, LSU a lot better offense. Arkansas, one of the, you know, lower hitting teams, but they can pitch. Remember, Arkansas had the best pitching staff in the country last year, and I'll tell you what, they're really good on the mound again this year. And they're coming off a big win against what everybody thought was going to be the #1 team, and probably still is in the SEC in South Carolina. They won 2 out of the 3 against South Carolina this weekend.
1 ball, 1 strike on the designated hitter, Gavin Collins. He's been hit by a pitch, and he smacked a double deep into the left center field alley last time to produce a run. This rally by Mississippi State has come with 2 outs. A wild pitch on a strikeout. Base hits by Armstrong and Bradford on a walk to Vickerson. That ball looked like a slider for a strike.
Now, we talked about how fast the game can change. 2 out, nobody on. Bug strikes out Pirtle, but the ball hits him and kicks away. He gets on first, and all of a sudden you get 2 singles and a walk, and now Mississippi State's 1 swing away.
Bregman flips it to the middle bag. Hale is waiting. Mississippi State is limited to 1 run. The Tigers have a 7-2 advantage. This game is official as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Let's go back and look at Friday night's effort by Aaron Nola. He was brilliant again. 2 hits over 8 innings. He shut out Mississippi State. He is our Win the World Player of the Week for the LSU Tigers. And he's with our Ronnie Rance right now. Ronnie?
Yeah, thanks, Len. Over here with Aaron Nola. It's nice when you pitch so good on Friday. You just get to chill and relax the rest of the weekend. You're over here pulling for your teammates. Your reaction to Bowman. He hadn't pitched in 3 weeks. He got the start today.
Yeah, very impressive outing by Kyle. You know, he had a bad ankle sprain, and he was out for a couple of weeks, and yeah, he hadn't got on the mound too much, and looked like he had some velocity on his ball today, and he was definitely getting ahead of hitters and getting them out, and that's why he was successful.
You know, last year you were the 2013 SEC Pitcher of the Year, had unbelievable numbers. You've improved on those numbers this year. Where have you gotten better from a year ago?
You know, this is all about focus for me, and putting the game in front of me and not trying to get ahead of myself, and trying to stay within myself, and not trying to be somebody I'm not. And like I said, my offense has helped me out on Fridays, and my defense also. And you know, I'm trying to make progress from here on out too.
You threw 117 pitches on Friday. I know Coach Maneri is a little delicate. He knows you got a bright future ahead of you, so he doesn't let you go too deep. But do y'all discuss your pitch count, and do you talk about it during the game as far as, are you going to be able to throw some complete games?
We don't talk about it too much. He tries to stay around the 110, 120 area. But, you know, I feel like towards the end of the year and as we go on from here, I'm going to be able to go longer. And once my stamina gets a little more, you know, I think he'll let me go some complete games. But, you know, I mean, I wasn't mad that he took me out in the 8th. You know, he's I'm definitely with him with the pitch count right now.
Now, you played with your brother Austin. Of course, LSU fans remember Austin Nola, great shortstop, freshman on the 2009 National Championship team. You got to play 1 year together. Both of you guys are really reserved, mild-mannered. He might be a little bit more fiery than you are. Is there anything that fires you up? What gets your juices flowing?
I don't really know. I try to keep my emotions to myself and not try to show any. You know, that's kind of what has got me here. And I think if I show too much emotions and watching other people show emotions, that other teams feed off of it and other people feed off of it, and, you know, it can get to them, and that's when mistakes start happening. And so, you know, as long as I stay within myself and keep my emotions and stay calm, I'm good to go.
So needless to say, you're not as fired up as Alan Dunn, your pitching coach, who's probably the most fired up pitching coach in the country.
Yeah, you could say that. He's a scary man if he's mad. You don't want to be around him.
Well, Nola, congratulations and best of luck the rest of the way. And of course, by the way, your brother Austin, give the folks an update where he went to the Major League Baseball camp with the Marlins this year. Where's he at right now? Yeah,
he's in Jacksonville with the Double A squad, and you know, hopefully he'll get a call up soon. But you know, no rush for him. He loves it up there, and he's still doing good.
Austin and Aaron were both drafted at one point in time by the same organization. After Austin's junior year, the Toronto Blue Jays drafted him. They drafted Aaron out of high school. They played together 1 year at LSU. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll get a chance to play in the major leagues together. Let's go back upstairs to Lynn and Ben.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. And that's nice to had a very candid in-game conversation with one of the best pitchers in the history of LSU baseball.
No doubt about that. I mean, just the way he commands the strike zone. If you like to see good pitching, don't miss a Friday night when Aaron Nola pitches. He truly is. And Ronnie mentioned SEC Pitcher of the Year as a sophomore last year. This is not a fluke. It's been going on for a couple of years now. He's been as dominant as anybody in the country. And a guy that I think is going to move quickly. And because he commands the strike zone, he can throw it in and out, up and down. He has above average breaking ball and changeup. I think he'll move quickly through somebody's organization, whoever's lucky enough to draft him.
Christian Ibarra and Andrew Stevenson both have base hits. Ibarra singling sharply to the outfield, and Andrew Stevenson following with a bunt base hit following the indecision by Randolph the catcher and Gentry the pitcher as to which one would pick up the ball.
Well, you know, this game here has been one of the best games I've seen for LSU offensively this year. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they've threatened every inning. They've scored in every inning but one so far. 12 base hits already. Not many pop-ups. You know, I mean, in the past, popped a lot of balls up. Not very competitive at bats, but today's been a different story. Hitting the ball on the nose, done some good things at the plate. I like the swings, and so it's coming together for LSU at the right time. They needed this series to win it, and if they can get a sweep, man, it puts them right back in the mix in the Western Division.
.16 has been the highest hit total this year for LSU against Toledo.
Yeah, I mean, and that's against Toledo. Nothing against Toledo, but it's not Mississippi State pitching, you know. And so for them to put up 12 hits through not even 5 innings yet says a lot about where they are. You know, and what's starting to come around. Talked about Coach Maneri wanting them to be more aggressive, turn them loose a little bit more. And, well, it's showing today. And if they can continue this type of production offensively, look, they can climb right back into the national picture.
And we are going to have a Northwestern Mutual pitching change here as Mississippi State brings out Vance Tatum. Vance Tatum replaces Miles Gentry. 7-2, LSU leads Mississippi State in the 5th. Mississippi State's new pitcher is 6'4" freshman left-hander Vance Tatum out of Olive Branch, Mississippi. No record, 8th appearance, and a high earned run average, about 8.5. He's only worked 7 1/3 innings.
A lot of 7s there. 7 1/3, 7 hits, 7 runs, 7 earned runs, and 7 strikeouts.
So Tatum, the left-hander, against Sean McMullen, the left-handed hitter. Dakota Hudson was lifted in the 3rd. Jonathan Holder pitched a 1/3 of an inning out of the bullpen. Miles Gentry with 1 complete inning over 2 frames, and now Vance Tatum. Sean McMullen has had a nice day at the top of the order. He has walked, he has singled, he has driven in a couple with a double. This is where he feasts off left-handed pitching. Very unusual.
He hits lefties as good as anybody does.
McMullen hits .353 against left-handed pitching. And that's in 34 at-bats.
There's something to look at. LSU hitting in the SEC. They were 212 as a team in SEC games only now, which was dead last in the SEC. So goes to show you how important this series has been, especially the game today with 12 hits already. Of course, you never hit as high in SEC play as you do overall because the competition is just too strong. But certainly LSU better than a 212 club, even against SEC pitching. And it won't get any easier next week. Again, Arkansas comes in with an outstanding pitching staff. LSU, unfortunately for them, had to start off with Vanderbilt in the SEC, which has, you know, a lot of big league type arms over there. and it's tough to start with them. And, you know, since then it's been a little bit of a struggle offensively. But that Vanderbilt pitching staff can do that to you.
Nobody out. 2 Tigers aboard. Ibarra and Stevenson. We play in the bottom of the 5th inning. We have had no delays in this game because of wet weather. But the radar shows it's on its way from the west.
Yes.
This is an official game.
It's a coming. But, I mean, fortunate just to get it in because, again, 2 days ago they were talking about, well, they might get to play Friday night, but Saturday, don't know about Saturday. Definitely Sunday's going to be out. Well, here we are and got Saturday's game in with no problem at all. And almost about halfway through this game right now with no problems at all as well.
The sky is the color of a battleship. The 3-2. High and tight. The bases are full with nobody out. That walk shoves Ibarra to third. Stevenson to second. McMullen on first for Mark Laird. Now, Mark Laird had not come to the plate prior to this game with the bases loaded ever this season. But this is the second time in this game that he's come to the plate with the bases loaded.
Isn't baseball a funny game when you talk about that? I mean, he's had 93 at-bats coming into this ball game as Mark Laird and never came up to bat 93 times with the bases loaded. And you're right, twice today.
He sizzled a double into the opposite field with the bases loaded in the 2nd inning. He goes the other way again and finds the grass. So Mark Laird, 2 for 2 with the bases loaded in 2014 and 3 driven in.
The hitting continues for LSU. And of all the guys they got to get going, it's this guy standing in the batter's box right now. You know, if everybody keeps hitting and Bregman comes around, and he will, it's kind of like Wes Ray for LSU, for Mississippi State. Somebody's going to pay for something down the line for his struggles. Well, somebody's eventually going to pay for Alex Bregman as well.
Bregman is 0 for 3 today, and he hasn't had any good swings. He tried to bunt in the first and popped it back to the mound. He fouled out to the first baseman in the 2nd and grounded out to the right side in the 4th. Mississippi State has a couple of more chunkers getting ready in the bullpen.
Yeah, that could be an explosion right here. 2-0, bases loaded, got to throw a strike. You know, and Bregman's the only guy in the lineup today without a base hit for LSU. Everybody else has a base hit except Bregman. And anytime you bring the infield in, it makes the hitter at the plate about 100 points better. But Mississippi State can ill afford to give up any more runs. So they're going to bring it in. They're going to try to come home and get the first out and over the first base to get the second out. Try to get a ground ball double play.
Bregman has come to the plate with the bases loaded this year 4 times and does not have a base hit. He's got a hitter's count. And a 2-0 breaking ball was tall. 3-0 now. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if Pulmonary turns him loose on 3-0.
And that's one reason, you know, Bregman has seen everybody's best stuff this year after the year that he had last year, and the respect that he has in an 8-2 ball game with a 2-0 count, bases loaded, he gets a breaking ball.
There's a strike. Austin Sexton and Lucas Laster are warming up for Mississippi State. And now precipitation starts to fall. 3-1 to Bregman. Back up the middle, a base hit. This will produce a couple of runs. Alex Bregman delivers the RBI single, and the Tigers get to double figures.
Well, you can only keep a guy like Bregman down so long, and he's going to hurt you, and he found a way right there. Got a ball he can handle 3-1 and just belts it right back up the middle. Too good of a hitter, too balanced. Swing is too good. Drives home 2 more runs for LSU.
It's 10-2 Tigers. And John Cohen is going to go get Vance Tatum. Vance Tatum faced 3 batters and did not retire anybody. He walked McMullen. He gave up RBI base hits to Laird and Bregman. So we will have another Northwestern Mutual pitching change, and the Tigers have an 8-run lead, seeking a sweep of Mississippi State. It's been a good weekend for LSU's Tigers. 10 runs, 14 hits, no errors in the 3rd game against Mississippi State. 2 runs, 7 hits, and 1 bobble for the Bulldogs. And here is Austin Sexton, a freshman right-hander out of Huntsville, Alabama. His record is 1-0 with an ERA of a little over 4. He's had 3 starts, Ben, with 7 appearances now, 16 hits, and a lot of walks.
Yep, and that's been his downfall. You can tell. You walking that many guys, 10 guys in just that few innings. But he can strike you out, too. I mean, 14 strikeouts. It tells me he's got a good arm. He's got good stuff, but command is his issue.
There's still nobody out here in the 5th inning. Ibarra opened it with a single. Stevenson butted his way aboard. That brought on Vance Tatum to replace Miles Gentry. Tatum was summoned to specifically face the left-handed hitters, and he walked Sean McMullen, and then he gave up a base hit for an RBI to Mark Laird, and then he fell behind Alex Bregman, who later delivered a 2-run single. And that's where we stand with Cade Savick now at the plate for LSU. LSU has reached the scoreboard in 4 frames this afternoon and produced crooked numbers in each one. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, 3 in the 5th.
Well, LSU's been needing a breakout game like this. You know, a game where they really get it going. It's everybody in the starting lineup has a base hit now. They've got the clutch hits, the big hits, doubles. They've done it all today. Everything except a home run.
The wild pitch advances the runners. John Cohen's group will face Ole Miss next weekend and have a midweek game in the Jackson area in Pearl, Mississippi against Southern Mississippi.
Yeah, Mississippi State will be looking to rebound there and then get it going against Ole Miss. That'll be a state rivalry there, Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
2-0 pitch upstairs. Sexton has not pitched well with runners on base. The opposition is batting .357 against him when the bases have been occupied. Three and 2 now. First base is open. Laird is at third. Bregman is at second. Seth Heck, the shortstop, takes this one behind the mound, and Savick pops up for the first out. Ronnie Rance, what do you have for us?
Well, down here by the LSU dugout where David Taylor and Eric Fosbender, they're the grounds crew guys and the facilities guys here that have been really watching the clouds. They've got the iPad out and they've kind of checked the radar all day. Now, the field was tarped last night. At 8:45 this morning, they pulled the tarp, and it hasn't been on there all day. Right now, we're getting really lucky, guys. I mean, it's an 80% chance of rain tonight, but right now it's kind of broken up above and north and south of Baton Rouge. And according to these guys that are monitoring it on their iPads as we speak, they feel like they're going to be able to get this game in.
Well, indeed, there seems to be a little gap between rain south and north of Baton Rouge, at least for the foreseeable future, the near future. LSU with 14 base hits today, Ben, and this is the 11th time that the Tigers have reached double figures in base hits this year. The Tigers playing in their 33rd game.
Yeah, it's been a breakout game. You know, something they needed to happen. Some guys have been scuffing a little bit. It's had some big days for LSU. Everybody's got a base hit again.
Tyler Moore is 1 for 3. And that base hit came in the first. It produced the game's first run.
Well, you can see Sexton what his best pitch is. He's got a pretty good fastball. We've seen it 88 to 90 here, but his changeup throws a lot of changeups, and he's got a good one. Again, Mississippi State's got that infield in just like the last batter, trying to cut off any run that they can.
Tyler Moore goes down on strikes. That's only the first strikeout by LSU today.
Yeah, I tell you, Sexton comes in just 2 batters ago, faces Civic with runners on second and third, and nobody out. Gets an infield pop-up, then a strikeout. So he's been big. If he can finish this thing off.
Here's Connor Hale. He's 2 for 3 with an RBI, and the time he has been retired, he lined out to the center fielder. McMullen at the top of the order has a single and a 2-run double. Laird has a 2-run double and an RBI single. Bregman with a 2-run single. Civic has a base hit. Tyler Moore has an RBI single. So does Connor Hale. In fact, he's got a couple of base hits. Jake Fraley has singled and scored. How far will this go? Wow. Caught against the wall by Jake Vickerson. Jake Vickerson left his feet and makes the catch as Connor Hale flirted with a home run. But the Tigers get 3 more in the 5th, and they've got a 10-2 lead over Mississippi State. Let's look at our star CCA catch of the game as Jake Vickerson measures the wall, leaves his feet, and catches the long drive off the bat of Connor Hale.
Yep, good play right there. Went back, found the wall, timed his jump perfectly.
Our CCA star catch of the game, 101 days of fishing and $500,000 in prizes as Connor Hale came close to his first LSU home run. Alden Cartwright has come out of the LSU bullpen, so he replaces Parker Bugg.
Yeah, next year that would be home run. They're going to go to a lot of you have heard they're going to a more pro-style baseball next year, and the idea behind that is the seams are a little bit not quite as raised as high, so the pitchers won't be able to throw as good of a breaking ball. But more importantly than that, when the ball's hit, because of the wind drag and wind resistance, the ball's going to carry. They're thinking 15 feet further than the balls that they use currently in college baseball. So it's going to produce a few more home runs.
I will believe it when I witness it.
Yeah, I don't think it's the cure-all for the lack of offense that we have. I think it's a step in the right direction, but it's certainly not, going to fix the college game, especially out in Omaha. Omaha is just way too big.
Zach Randolph rolls a base hit through the left side. That's his second hit of the day. Kyle Bowman, Parker Bugg, and Alden Cartwright have taken the hill for the Tigers today. Back to the top of the Bulldog order we go. It's Seth Heck, who's 0 for 3. But he has hit the ball hard, very hard, a couple of times. He's lined out to the right fielder and then lined out to the first baseman with the bases loaded.
Absolutely.
And fly it out to Laird again in the fourth. Alex Detz is on deck. Breaking ball by Cartwright. Does not bite. "14 hits today by the Tigers. For the second time this year, that's the second highest hit total for LSU this season. The Tigers had 16 hits against Toledo and 16 hits against Yale. LSU, 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, 3 in the fifth. Mississippi State really never has been in this game, Ben. What's left for the Bulldogs here to try to accomplish in the last half of the game should the rain stay away?
Well, obviously, I think they're still trying to win the ball game. I mean, as a competitor, you think you always got a shot, but in today's game, probably not. But I think more than anything, pride, Lynn. I mean, you want to. If you're going to lose, you're going to go down swinging. You're not going to hang your head. You're going to get after it, And I think probably as important, too, is trying to finish strong, have some good things happen going in the next weekend. They got a midweek game coming up. If they can get a few base hits and score a few more runs, I think it can get, they're going to lose the series, and they're probably going to get swept, but maybe they get a little momentum going into next week.
Runner is breaking. Bregman will have to throw it to first, and he gets Seth Heck. Randolph was put in motion. And this will bring on Alex Detz. He was walked, struck out, and grounded out. Nate Fury may be next up for LSU in the bullpen.
Yeah, Nate's been warming up. He's getting loose.
There's a nice breaking ball by Cartwright. Mississippi State appears to have Cody Brown in the on-deck circle, so it might not be Wes Ray, who's had a very difficult series.
Yes, he has. I mean, it might be the best thing, maybe sit out a few at-bats, maybe sit out a game, kind of clear his head a little bit, get back in the batting cage and fix what's going on, because they're going to need him. I mean, he's so important.
Bregman unleashes a strong throw from behind second base for the second out.
Boy, that's a nice play, and Bregman makes it look so easy. That's not an easy play. That is a very difficult play. Watch how far he ranges. Catches it, sets his feet, a couple crow hops, and squares those shoulders and shows you a big arm, a big league arm from shortstop coming across the diamond.
Well, Cody Brown is the pinch hitter. Brown has had one at bat in this series. He did not deliver. Out of Biloxi, a freshman.
Nice two-seam fastball right there by Cartwright. See it kind of sinking down and away from Brown.
Mississippi State with runs in the 4th and the 5th. 2 outs, a runner at 3rd. Infield very deep. Trying to cover as much ground as possible against Cody Brown, the pinch hitter. 2 runs, 8 hits for the Bulldogs, 10 runs and 14 safeties for the Tigers, their 2nd highest total of the season. That's a strike on the inner half. The 2-2 from Cartwright. A bit elevated, not much.
He's thinking that breaking ball up just a little bit. You know, he's letting it go maybe, you know, instead of out in front a little bit more, he's letting it go a little bit too high so it's staying up. It's got a good spin to it. It's got a good break. It's just starting it too high. Because he's got a good one. I mean, that's really probably Cartwright's best pitch is his breaking ball.
He went back to the heat. And he gets the pinch hitter, Cody Brown. So the number 3 position in the Mississippi State lineup has struck out 4 times this afternoon.
Before Gold Bond Men's
Parts and service.
Suffering from allergy congestion.
Gold Bond.
Well, let's start the bottom of the 6th inning with our micrograph TairRestoration.com trivia question. Which pitcher holds the LSU record for most starts in a single season? We will let you ponder that for a while. We'll be back with the answer shortly.
If I had to guess, I'd say it's from as much as they used to pitch back in the day, maybe from an older era. I hope it wasn't me. I'm sitting there saying the older era.
I think the answer is pretty close by.
Oh, no. I did it to myself again. I'm getting old, Lynn.
Especially when you're pondering that knee surgery.
You're right.
I know that has bugged the heck out of you to come up with a little cartilage damage.
Yeah, I got some bad news the other day. I got to have knee surgery, you know, but hey, what are you going to do? Got to get it fixed.
Jake Fraley hits this one into the mist and comes close to the warning track.
The bad news is when you tear your meniscus in your knee and you don't even know how you did it, that's what the bad news is.
Louisiana Cat sponsors our 6th inning from Baton Rouge. Louisiana Cat, your statewide Caterpillar dealer. Alex Detz is over at first base now for Mississippi State. So he's moved from 3rd to 1st. And Matt Britton is the new 3rd baseman, and he'll bat in the number 3 spot for the Bulldogs. Austin Sexton had a good relief outing in the 5th for Mississippi State. 2-0 on Ibarra. Christian has been on base 3 times. An infield hit. He was hit by a pitch. And he had a sharp single last time, and he also has scored 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, and he's one of the guys, LSU. You remember, all SEC performer, hit over 300 last year. See his average at 275 after a 2-for-2 day, and he dropped all the way down to 9th in the batting order, you know, which is, you know, maybe a tough pill for him to swallow because he hit pretty much 6 or 7 hole all last year and was pretty much in that role this year. But you know, the further you hit down, the more likely you are to see more fastballs. And Ibarra certainly is a dead red fastball hitter. That's the pitch he likes the best. Like that.
You can pucker up and kiss this baby goodbye. Way over the left field bleachers. Sayonara. Adios. Christian Ibarra. 3 hits today, 4 runs scored, and a run driven in.
Well, I just got it out of my mouth how he likes the fastball. He's a high kick, fastball, dead red, fastball hunting kind of guy. And certainly with a 3-1 count, you know, this is a good lesson for young kids. When you're ahead in the count, you know you're going to get a fastball, 3-1, 2-0. Get the head of the bat out there. Barrel it up, and boy, he didn't miss it. That's just how you hit right there. I mean, that's a situation where if a guy throws you a 3-1 curveball, you're going to swing and miss it, but so what? Or he throws you a 3-1 changeup, you're going to swing and miss it, but you got a pitch left. But you don't miss a 3-1 fastball. You don't be late on a 3-1 fastball. That's a big smile from him, and he's another very important guy in that lineup for LSU, you know.
He hit that one over his picture on the big scoreboard in left field.
Oh, he got all of that one. Not a big guy, you know, about 5'8" probably. But, man, he can create some bat speed.
That was his second home run of the season, and it brings on Andrew Stevenson. And, Ben, when you look at Ibarra in the 8th spot and Stevenson at the bottom of the order, those two combined have scored every time they've come to the plate. They've got 7 runs scored.
Watch this big high leg kick. Watch how he loads. See, he starts his hands high. He'll have a big leg kick. Gets it going, just uncoils on that one.
The 3-0 pitch is off the mark to Stevenson. So Ibarra and Stevenson have had 8 trips to the plate, and they have been on base all 8 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good production. Again, the entire lineup with at least 1 base hit. A breakout day for LSU offensively, 11 runs. Remember, coming into this series this weekend, as you look at Christian Ibarra right there, LSU was hitting .212 in SEC play. .212, which was dead last in conference. You knew that wouldn't continue. They'd come out of it at some point, and they have today.
This is the 3rd highest run total that LSU has produced in a game this year, and the 5th time that the Tigers have reached double figures in scoring. Sean McMullen has also been on base 4 times at the top of the order. A walk, a single, a 2-run double, and another walk. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 22 base runners for the Tigers.
That's pressure. And again, LSU hasn't had 1 inning where they've gone 1, 2, 3. It's been constant pressure. You know, that's what you want to see as a coach. You know, I mean, you hate to have those non-competitive innings where you just don't put any pressure on defense. You get bad swings. You're 3 up and 3 down. And we saw a lot of that this year. Some weak fly balls, LSU popping balls up too much. But today's been anything but that. I mean, it's been a team that swung the bat well, showed a lot of confidence at the plate, didn't miss pitches when they got their pitch to hit. It's been a solid day for LSU offensively.
You know, when you look off into the distance, Tiger Stadium just beyond the center field wall, and then other buildings across the campus, looks like a little fog is rolling in as well.
Absolutely. You can see the construction site on Tiger Stadium over there, and it's kind of
hazy.
Very hazy, yeah. There's a good look at it. It's just kind of foggy, cloudy. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's definitely changing, and not for the better. It's almost like a mist coming down is what it is.
11-2 LSU. In the bottom of the 6th, LSU has scored in every inning except the 4th. There's ball 4. Sean McMullen at the top of the order has been on base 5 times.
Talk about a day, huh? You get 5 at bats, you're on base 5 times, 3 walks, a double, and a single. You've had a heck of a day.
You know, it's been a big weekend here on campus for LSU sports. The softball team has beaten number 2 Tennessee twice, Friday on a walk-off home run. The gymnastics team won the NCAA Baton Rouge Regional with a school record score of 198.325. And that ties as the highest score in the country this year.
Wow.
The track and field team swept the men's and women's titles at the Battle of the Bayou. And, of course, the spring football game as well. We'll try to get you updated on that other softball score, but LSU has won the series against Tennessee, the second-ranked Tennessee Volunteers.
Nice.
The hit parade continues. Mark Laird will run for a while. He's going to stop at second, only because McMullen stopped at third.
That's right. That's right. Good piece of hitting by Mark Laird. Gets a changeup, an off-speed pitch. It's a little bit out in front, but he kept his hands back. Watch this right here. See how his body's out in front, but he did a good job. Watch him keep his hands back and drag it through the zone right there. Able to put the barrel on it.
Now, his two previous base hits today had been down the left field line. This is the first ball he's pulled today. Mark Laird has 5 driven in.
Well, kind of like McMullen and a lot of the LSU guys so far today. They've done a good job of hitting the ball where it's pitched. And he got fastballs away, did Laird, the first couple of hits, so he hit them toward left field. That was an off-speed pitch he was out in front of, and most of the time you're going to pull that ball.
Alex Bregman had a 2-run single in the 5th. The infield drawn tight. Yeah. 2-0 to Bregman.
And like Ibarra, Bregman's going to be looking for fastball right here. You got 2-0, but you also understand you got a base open too. And so they may not want to give in to him and throw him a 2-0 or 3-1 type fastball.
That's a strike.
Yep, that's 79 miles an hour. So, you know, not very often do you give in to the other team's best hitter. You just don't do that, especially when you have a base open in this situation right here. Yep, and see that, and now the count's 3-1. You know, and that's the difference in hitting 3-hole in a lineup, because typically your 3-hole hitter is your best hitter. You hit down 8 and 9-hole, you're more likely to get challenged and get those fastballs to hit. But if you hit 3 and 4-hole, you're less likely to get challenged, you know, on good fastballs, because, you know, that's why you're hitting that spot, because you don't miss those pitches.
Bregman draws a 5-pitch pass, and the troubles continue for Austin Sexton. He pitched very well in relief in the 5th inning, and he got Fraley on a fly ball to right, but then Ibarra homered, Stevenson and McMullen walked. Laird drove in a run with a double, and Bregman has walked.
Yeah, he's got himself in a pinch right here. Got Cade Civic up, leading the Tigers with a 360 batting average. Nowhere to put him, and only 1 out. So you got to make a pitch here. You got to get something down in the zone. You got to try to get a ground ball to one of your middle infielders. Stay down.
The 12 runs that LSU has scored this afternoon represent the most that LSU has scored in an SEC game since beating Florida in May of last year, 18-6. So this has been a nice explosion against SEC pitching.
Oh, yeah, you don't see scores like this typically in SEC. Now, we did see one, was it Kentucky? You know, Kentucky this weekend was playing Florida on Friday night. And on Friday nights is when your 2 aces lock up. And I think the score was 16-0 or 16-1, which is just doesn't happen on Friday nights in the SEC. You'll see it sometimes on Sundays like this, because you typically get down to, you know, a bullpen that's been used up sometimes, and, you know, starters that's not as good as your Friday and Saturday guys. And so you'll see higher scores typically on Sundays, but not like this.
The LSU softball team could not get the sweep against second-ranked Tennessee, but it does take the series 2-1. Tennessee shutting out LSU softball 9-0 today. We'll have LSU softball next weekend for you on CST. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Cade Savick. 1 out, bases loaded. Savick is a wolf looking for a lamb chop.
Yeah, and he is, you know. He's had a fabulous year to this point.
Belted. Grand slam home run. Pucker up. 4 kisses on that one. A line drive that just made it over the left center field wall. Cade Savick drives in 4 with 1 swing.
Just like Ibarra, got a fastball count, 3-2, bases loaded, nowhere to put Savick. You got to be sitting dead red. You got to be sitting on the fastball, and he got one, and he got it about belt high. And the big fella from Maurepas, Louisiana, watch this swing. Boom! I'm talking about just above the belt, and it's a line drive to left center field for his 4th home run. Just gets over. 4th homer, that leads the Tigers.
1 swing, 4 driven in on Cade Savick's 4th home run. And we will take another Northwestern Mutual pitching change as the Tigers have 16 against Mississippi State with a 6th spot in the 6th. Cade Savick with the bases loaded. Rams one into the left center field bleachers. More in a moment.
Acme Oyster House has been satisfied.
Cade Savick is putting on his catcher's gear following the grand slam home run, which has given LSU its 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th runs in this game. And Lucas Laster has taken the mound for Mississippi State. He is the 5th reliever today by the Bulldogs.
See his numbers on the year, got a 9 ERA. He's only made 2 appearances, 2 short appearances, because he only got 1 inning work so far, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned run.
Dakota Hudson, Jonathan Holder, Miles Gentry, Vance Tatum, Austin Sexton, and Lucas Laster all have pitched for the Bulldogs. And LSU is going to send a pinch hitter to the plate. This is Robertson. Kramer Robertson will bat here for Tyler Moore. A quick strike to Kramer Robertson. And a strike on Robertson. Robertson takes a hack at one and fouls it out of play. 17 base hits for LSU today.
Only 1 error in the ball game, 1 by Mississippi State. And that was, as you've mentioned a few times, very iffy. Could have been 18 hits for LSU. Good pitch right there, right on the inside corner.
So Lucas Laster burns the inner edge. Robertson goes down looking, and up steps another pinch hitter for the Tigers. This is Danny Zardone, a freshman out of Pembroke Pines, Florida. And a strike.
Both coaches emptying the benches, letting some guys get some very valuable SEC action. I tell you, Laster's got a good arm, though, from the left side. That's 88, 89 miles an hour fastball from the left side. There's a little slider, a little breaking ball.
You know, guys, Danny Zardone at the plate. I overheard him in the dugout earlier kind of joking about, you know what, I think I'm going to go to Paul Maneri and tell him I can pitch a little bit. I've been working on some things on the bullpen. He said he last pitched in sophomore year in high school, but when you're not getting on the field because they got other guys in front of you, you look for other things to do.
Well, Danny Zardone, who goes down looking, has the only other grand slam this year for LSU. A big swing by Civic produces 4, and the Tigers lead by 14. Well, we let you scratch your heads on it long enough. Which pitcher holds the LSU record for most starts in a season? Our micrographterrestoration.com trivia quiz, and the answer is in your picture right now. Ben McDonald with 22 starts back in, what's that, 1988?
88, yeah, my sophomore year, that's right.
22 starts.
I was sitting there thinking it was an older guy way back in the older era, but it was me this time.
That is an older guy. I mean, that's 4 decades ago. Parts of 4 decades.
Do you have to say it like that?
Yeah.
Do you really have to say 4 decades ago? Because now people think it's been 40 years.
No, it hasn't been 40 years. But it will be one day. Soon. You think... I don't think anybody will ever have 22 starts again in a 56-game schedule.
Probably not.
I mean, that's one every 3 games, basically.
Yeah.
You know, now I know you're counting postseason, but 22 starts is amazing.
Yeah, and believe it or not, that's the year that we didn't go to the playoffs in '88.
So you were starting some midweek games, too.
Right.
Ronnie, what about that? 22 starts. The record, I don't think anybody will ever approach that.
Yeah, that's 22 starts, like I said, and that's no postseason play other than the SEC tournament.
Well, that's pre, really pitch count managing right there is what that was. Back in the 80s, as Ben knew in high school and in college, now we monitor pitch counts, and when a guy reaches 100, we think he's going to die if he throws 10 extra pitches, But back then, a guy threw 130, 140 pitches in a complete game wasn't crazy to see.
Yeah, but how do you get 22 starts in 56 games?
Well, Coach Bertman knew he had a workhorse, and he had to fill the stands, so he wanted to make sure Ben McDonald, he got his money's worth on Ben's scholarship.
But that's a whole lot of midweek starts, too.
Yeah, I don't know how it all happened. I was thinking that might have happened in '89. I was shocked in '88 because '89, we got to obviously won a regional, and then we got to go to Omaha, and I got a few more starts at the end. I didn't realize it was in '88.
Kurt McCune is on the mound now for the Tigers. He made a nice play picking up a ground ball and making the out at first himself.
Very athletic play.
Kramer Robertson is the new second baseman. Danny Zardone is the new first baseman. LSU has tied its highest run total this year with 16. This is the 3rd time. The Tigers have scored 16 runs in a game, but only the 5th time LSU has been in double figures. Ooh, that was a scorcher. And I think everybody's okay on the right side of that LSU dugout.
Well, in recent years, the new ballpark, they got those nets up now in front of home plate. It used to be wide open at the old box, and you had to be careful because that ball would have took somebody's shins out right there. That's what that net is there for, a little protective net.
Gage Civic behind the plate has had a big day for LSU. He's driven in 4 runs. He has singled. He has walked. He scored a couple of times. And he's handled his pitching staff nicely today.
Yes, he has. What'd you nickname him? The Marpaw Masher?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he has been that today for sure.
Here's Bradford, who had a pinch hit RBI single in the 5th. Just off the mark for Kurt McCune.
Yeah, McCune's got an important role too. You know, like Parker Bug, McCune is a guy that can bridge too. He may bridge to Bug or vice versa to get to Broussard, you know, so he's got to be an important guy as well. Nice play.
That's well done. Zardone going to his right, making the backhanded pluck, and then a nice lead throw to McCune at first base. A 1-2-3 inning, 16-2 Tigers. More to come after the stretch. LSU Baseball on Cox Sports Television is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products, Excellence in Imaging Solutions, and by MicrograftHairRestoration.com, the South's premier hair restoration clinic. We play in the bottom of the 7th inning. Cody Walker has gone behind the plate for Mississippi State. He replaces Zach Randolph as the Bulldogs catcher. Randolph had a couple of hits today at the bottom of the Bulldog order. But it's Cody Walker behind the dish right now. And Jake Fraley, after the Tigers batted around in the 6th and had 2 home runs in that frame, one by Ibarra and a grand slam by Savic. Fraley batting for the 5th time. He's 1 for 4. Lucas Laster on the mound. Very high throw from Matt Britton. And that one is a souvenir, so that will put Fraley at second base. A 2-base throwing error on Fraley.
Well, that's what speed does. Speed puts extra pressure on a defense. And there's no doubt that Britton knew Jake Fraley could run, so he has to hurry up, come get it, and hurry up and get rid of it. Of course, the ground's a little bit wet from the mist and the rain, and just a tough play all the way around.
You know what? I have gone back and looked at the LSU record book, and Mark Guthrie also had 22 starts in 1986.
Yeah. We pitched a lot.
But it was 1988 according to the LSU record book.
I had two
you and
starts
Mark
a week
Guthrie
sometimes,
share
yeah.
that record. Jared Foster is batting now for LSU. So Jared Foster batting for Christian Ibarra. And the LSU third baseman was dandy today.
Oh, he was dandy. He needed that too. He needed a big day. He was good defensively. And even better offensively was Christian Ibarra today.
Tiger fans would love to see Jared Foster get going. This junior from Lake Charles was in the middle of the lineup in the early part of the season, but he never was able to show enough offensive prowess to stay in the lineup after a couple of weeks. Molinari will give everybody on his bench frequent chances, though, and that's one of the things that I think he does really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Foster was penciled in. He was the 4-hole guy the first 3 or 4 games of the year. Going to play right field, and remember, Laird had moved over to the left, and Foster was in right. Stevenson was in center when the season began, but Foster just struggled at the plate early, and other guys started getting opportunities. Right now, it's Jake Fraley, you know, has moved in that starting spot out there. We've seen Chambra out there and Jake Fraley, and
Foster fights that one off. No LSU player, though, under Paul Maneri should ever come to the ballpark and hide his glove.
That's right.
He uses his bench, I think, as well as anybody in the country. And even if you're in a horrendous slump and he sees an opportunity to get you in the game, you're not parked in a pigeonhole somewhere for the rest of the season.
That's right. Mentally, you got to be prepared. You got to be ready to play when you get to the ballpark, because you're right. He could use you in any situation.
And he'll play a hunch every once in a while.
Well, Coach Maneri over the years has been known to making moves in the middle of the season. I'm talking about permanent moves. Go back to, you know, Austin Nola. You remember years ago as a freshman, LSU was having trouble defensively, not turning hardly any double plays. Austin Nola, as a freshman, gets inserted right there, and LSU goes on. They won the World Series that year, didn't they? Yeah, in 2009. And so there's been plays like that have been made and changes that have been made from time to time. But you're right. He's going to use that bench. He's going to use all the guys on there. And when you get your opportunities, if you stay ready and perform well, you could win yourself a spot. Because Foster's a kid with unbelievable talent. I mean, he's a guy that can hit some homers and do some things for you.
That ball took a very high hop on Pirtle. He was ready to field that one at his belt, and it bounced up above his head. That's got to be a base hit.
That should be a base hit.
And that's number 18 for the Tigers.
Watch this hop. Boink. I mean, that's almost like it hit a trampoline or something.
That's a Super Bowl bounce. Ronnie Rance, what do you have for us?
Thanks. I'm down here. You know, baseball is a superstitious sport. I'm over here on the third base side, where all the K's are. And joining me right now is longtime LSU fan Joy Hammett. You come to the game. She's been in these seats for many, many years. First off, tell us who you have to the right, and I'll explain why we're over here.
Cindy Francis from Omaha, Nebraska, and my sister June Laverne.
Now, back in 2012, LSU goes, you go to Omaha in 2012. You've been 14 times, twice
without the team.
Twice without LSU.
Fun with the team. A lot of fun.
That's how big of an LSU fan she is. You guys met, you and Cindy met in Omaha, and last year she came down, and this year she came on. But when she comes to the games here in Baton Rouge, she brings a little something special as we take a look at the ground ball out. LSU scores a run. But what does she bring here to Alex Box Stadium?
She brings some dirt from Omaha, Nebraska. We will not say what field she got them from, because I don't got the dirt from. I don't want to get her in trouble.
You don't want to get her for breaking and entering. So she brings some magic dirt from Omaha, Nebraska. Now, last year came to one game, sprinkled it on the field. LSU, did they win?
Last year, I threw the whole bag of dirt on the first game against South Carolina, and we won the game, and then we didn't win the next two games. So this year, I'm pacing myself, and I put dirt on the field before each game, and we won them all. So I'm saving some more for next weekend.
Now, this bag of dirt doesn't look like it's going to make it the rest of the season. What is LSU going to do?
They're going to mail me more dirt.
Okay, more illegal dirt.
More dirt will be coming.
All right, so Cindy, you going to come back to Baton Rouge? You love coming here to the games?
It's incredible. It's kind of an annual event now, and we feel like it's family, so we'll be back.
We hope LSU fans will be seeing you in Omaha in June. Some superstitious LSU fans with some magic Omaha dirt. They better get more of it, guys. This won't make it past a week.
Well, that's better than Miracle Grow, I'll tell you.
Absolutely. If LSU wins this one, looks like they will, and she keeps doing that, may get it shipped in by the truckload.
This is Chris Chambra pinch hitting for Sean McMullen. Sean McMullen couldn't have been better at the top of the order. He was on base 5 times. 3 walks, a single, and a 2-run double. And now Chris Chambra. There's a strike at the knees.
Good pitch.
Chambra started on Friday and went 0 for 4. This is the second game in the series in which he's played. And he goes down on strikes. And here's Mark Laird. Laird has done something today that he has not done before in an LSU uniform, and that is produce 2 doubles in the same game. His double in the second to left field drove in a pair of runs, and his double in the 6th produced an RBI. So he's driven in 4. He also had a single in the 5th that knocked in a teammate. And he's hit by a pitch.
Looked like a breaking ball.
It's been a full plate for Mark Laird today.
Yeah, you're right. A little bit of everything for him.
LSU has 18 hits. That's the most it's had in any game this year. And it has scored in every inning except 1.
Well, it's been constant pressure, and that's what they need. And one game doesn't make a season, and one game doesn't make a weekend either. But this is certainly a big step in the right direction for LSU, and hopefully something that they can build on, for the future of being a little more consistent offensively. Obviously, they're not going to do this kind of stuff very often. This doesn't hardly ever happen on SEC weekends where you get 18 hits and score 17 runs, but it can certainly be something they can build on for the future.
Lucas Laster levels the count on Alex Bregman. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Runners at first and second. The Tigers have scored a run here on Andrew Stevenson's ground out. Foster is at second base. Laird on first.
And a lot of the LSU regulars have been pitch hit for, and you're getting guys into the game, but you still see Bregman in the ball game. And you got to think that's by design, because he's got to hit his way out of this. You want him to get as many of bats, see as much live pitching as he can, and he'll swing his way out of it. He's too good. It's eventually going to happen.
He's 1 for 4 today with a 2-run single. He also has walked and scored. He was on base when Cade Savick hit the grand slam home run in the 6th. $17 runs, 18 hits for the Tigers.
If you're Mississippi State, you're going to have to write this off. It's just a rough weekend. Like LSU. Look what a weekend can make a difference. Last weekend, LSU gets swept by Florida, but they're going to come back this weekend and they're going to sweep Mississippi State. Well, Mississippi State, is just going to have to find a way next weekend against Ole Miss and get it done.
Bregman is called out on strikes, and we move on. But the Tigers had another run in the 7th, and they've got a 15-run lead headed to the 8th. Hey. Welcome back, everyone. Here is our Aaron's defensive play of the game. It's Alex Bregman scooting to his left, scooping, transferring, and then throwing a bullet over to first base from behind second. Our Aaron's defensive play of the game. He made that look easy, but it was not an easy play.
You're right.
Kurt McCune returns to the mound for his 2nd inning of relief. He was very good in the 7th, a 1-2-3 inning, and we've got a bevy of changes defensively for the Tigers. Chris Chinea is now catching. Cade Savick has gone to first base. So that means Danny Zardone has had to go somewhere. Where is he?
He's over at third.
He's at third.
Yeah, he's moved over to third. Looks like I still see Stevenson out in center.
Well, Shambra is in the game somewhere, I believe.
I think he's in right, isn't he? Is that him out in right field?
Yes, he is.
There he is.
So Chinea is catching. Shambra is in right field. Zardone is at third base. Savic has gone to first from behind the plate. Foster is the designated hitter. And I believe those are all the changes.
Yeah.
The 2-2 to Vickerson. He spoils one. Jake Vickerson is 2 for 2. He's bunted his way aboard. Also had a base hit and walked. Two runs, 8 hits for Mississippi State. They had 6 hits combined in the first 2 games. 17 runs, 18 hits for LSU. Both of those are high water marks this year.
Yeah, I mean, nobody saw this coming, you know, after the lack of offense. And again, 6 runs scored total between these teams in the first 2 games. All of a sudden, you look up and there's 19 runs, 26 hits, make it 27 hits now between the 2 teams.
Vickerson has had a 3-hit day for the Bulldogs. This copyrighted telecast of LSU baseball may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of Cox Sports Television, CST.
Of course, this will be a long bus ride home for Mississippi State. I mean, you come in, you get swept. You know, but it'll also be an opportunity for Coach Cohen to, you know, talk, motivate, teach a little bit on the bus ride home and try to figure out, you know, do you write it off as just one of those weekends that you have and you hope you don't have many of them? Try to learn from mistakes if there were some that you made, and you move on. You put it behind you and you move.
Well, if you're always looking in the rearview mirror, you're going to wind up in last place.
That's exactly right. Someone once said the only thing good about living in the past is it's cheaper. And that's probably the only good thing about it. But you got to move, you know. And again, we said LSU had a bad weekend last weekend. Got swept. But look what they're going to do this weekend, you know. And there's not any teams going to run away with this thing again. I think the West will go down to the last weekend. I really do. I think Mississippi State will be there. I think LSU will be there. I think, you know, Alabama right now is a little bit of surprise it's there.
Gavin Collins rips one down the bag, and the throw from the left fielder, Chris Shambra, skipped by Zardone at third. They had a real chance to get Jake Vickerson.
Well, they were going to call interference on Robertson at shortstop. He rounded, Vickerson rounded on Robertson, ran into Robertson. The umpire already rewarded him third base. I don't know if we have a shot of it or not.
So that's a delayed dead ball. You wait and see what happens and give the offensive team the best outcome. And they're going to rule a double for Collins.
Because Bregman had gone down the line as a shortstop. Watch him come around second base, and you see right there, once that happens, Robertson's kind of in no man's land right there. Once that happens, there was no way Vickerson was going to be thrown out at third. The umpire had already awarded him third base. Defensive interference right there.
But it's a double for Collins, his second of the game. And Cody Walker, will bat for the first time. Randolph was 2 for 3 behind the plate. And now it's the new catcher, Walker. So Vickerson at third, Collins at second. Those two have produced 5 hits.
Yeah.
5 of the 10 for Mississippi State, and then add Randolph, that's 7 of the 10. The bottom third of the order has been the one that has peppered LSU.
Yeah, I don't think Mississippi State, they're not going away in this race in the Western Division. I just don't think they were. They got too much experience, too much confidence from what they accomplished last year.
Bregman scoops, a run will score. The throw over to Savic. There's the first out. Walker gets an RBI ground out. Collins moved to third. And we go back to the top of the order. And it's Seth Heck. who is looking for his first base hit.
Here comes this. Another tough play by Bregman. He's had 2 or 3 of those today. But I like his aggressive. He's always, Lynn, you seldom see Bregman lay back on a ground ball. He's always coming in and charging. Gets it off his left side.
McCune twirls one in for a strike.
And that's what's been impressive about Bregman. While he hasn't hit the ball like he did last year, and he scuffled from time to time this year, he hasn't carried it into the field with him. He's been just as good as he was last year or better defensively. And you got to be able to separate the two, offense and defense.
.28 hits and 20 runs have been scored in this game. And LSU, by far, with the better of it.
Yeah, we got a football score right now, 17-3.
A ball and 2 strikes from Kurt McCune. Kyle Bowman started. Parker Bugg, Alden Cartwright, and now Kurt McCune. Bowman gave up 5 hits in 3 1/3 innings, although he pitched very well. Walked 1, struck out 4.
Yeah, he did.
Bugg gave up a couple of hits in a short relief outing. Cartwright pitched an inning and yielded a hit. And McCune has been reached for a couple of hits here in the 8th after he sailed through the 7th, 1, 2, 3. The Wally Pontiff Memorial Game is on the 15th of April. That's down in New Orleans, of course, at Zephyr Field. Southern Mississippi is the opponent. Stevenson. And his throw cut off by Civic. Civic ran a long way from first base to the third base side of the mound to get into a position to cut that ball off.
Although he's a catcher, he's learned to play first base this year. And that's your responsibility as a first baseman. Guy at second base or at third base, you're the cutoff guy. From center field or right field as the first baseman.
We certainly invite fans around the New Orleans area, Baton Rouge, Hattiesburg, points south, any driving distance from Zephyr Field on the 15th of April to watch Southern Mississippi and LSU play in the annual Wally Pontiff Memorial Game. And Ben, it's been a while since the passing of Wally Pontiff Jr., but the significance of that game and the significance of his memory remain at the highest level.
Absolutely.
Civic gets down on the bag in time for the out. We've got a 17-3 game. LSU leading Mississippi State. Welcome back, everyone. This is our Slap de Mama player of the game, Christian Ibarra. A couple of singles, and he rips a home run. Christian Ibarra has had a big day. And a little cha-cha to finish it off.
There's 4 runs scored. If I could hit one that far, I'd dance like that too.
You know, Christian, I'm down here with Christian Ibarra and LSU Dugout. We just showed your 3 hits today, including the homer, which came with a little Latin salsa move, or what do we have right there? What is it called?
It was a real salsa move, you know. After a home run, we all, a group of us, like, celebrate right here on inside the dugout. And you know, I wasn't trying to do any kind of...
So no Latin flavor?
There was no Latin flavor.
Do we have a name for it? Anything like that?
I don't think so. No, we don't have no name for it. We just do it.
This has to feel good, though, today. 17 runs, 19 hits. It's got to feel good to bust out.
Yeah, it feels good, you know, coming together in one game and scoring all these runs. You know, we have confidence, and we're going up to a bat, so you know, it's a good win today.
You've been hitting a lot in the 6 hole since you came to LSU. They dropped you down in the lineup 8, 9, seeing a lot more fastballs. Teams don't know you got that, huh? You got to show them that you've got that pop in your bat.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter where coach puts me and all that. You know, the see fastballs, you know, early in the count. You know, I'm being really aggressive, and I've been seeing the ball really well.
Well, congrats on a good day.
And thank you.
Let's go back to Len and Ben.
Okay, thank you very much. Cade Civic singled to open the 8th inning. And that matched his season's best of 3 hits in a single game. So Civic at first, and then Robertson fly to center. And now it's Danny Zardone, who struck out in his only other at bat. Laster dealing a strike. We could see another pitcher for the Tigers in the 9th. There's bullpen activity. McCune has thrown a couple of innings of relief. 2 homers today for LSU. One by Christian Ibarra. And one by Cade Civic, which was a grand slam. Zardone beats out the infield hit. Pirtle did everything he could, but his momentum was carrying him into right field, and he just couldn't get enough on the throw.
And you're right. Defense, defense, defense for Mississippi State. That was their ticket last year. They're pretty good, too. And you're right, second baseman Pirtle, everything he can do, but can't quite get it there. The shortstop last year for Mississippi State, Frazier. Remember, Pirtle and Frazier was one of the top double play combinations in all of college baseball last year.
The Bulldogs came in with a 985 fielding percentage, and that's extraordinary. That's a fair ball off the bat of Fraley, and the out is made at first. The Tigers, for the last 2 seasons, have fielded at a 980 clip. And that's in the stratosphere as well.
Oh, yeah. And that's what's really changed. You know, years ago, if you fielded at a 970, you know, you were pretty good because everybody could hit then. But now it's going to more of a pitching defensive game with these new bats. And if you're going to lead the league now, you're going to be up at 980, which is what pretty much what the big league guys field at.
Chris Chinea will bat for the first time. Chinea, the sophomore catcher out of Miami.
Yeah, it was Chinea last night that had the sacrifice fly to left field. It almost got out. Just the go-ahead run, and LSU's 2-1 win.
The only inning in which LSU has failed to score is the 4th. 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd. 3 in the 5th, 6 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th.
And even in the 4th, they threatened, got 2 people on, so it's just been a productive day for LSU all the way around. Defense has been good, no errors. Pitching staff has been good, pitched out of some jams here and there. Did give up 10 hits so far, only 3 runs. But the offense has led the way with 17 runs and 20 hits.
And Chinea swings himself off his feet to end the inning. So we go to the 9th with LSU out in front 17-3, 3 outs away from the sweep of Mississippi State. Let's glance at our SEC scoreboard, brought to you by GMFS, your lender for life, changing lives one mortgage at a time. Kentucky nipped Florida 9-8. Missouri doubled up on Georgia 4-2. And Tennessee shut out Vanderbilt 7-0. Those are your finals from around the league today.
Big win for Tennessee right there.
Brady Domang has replaced Kurt McCune. So it's Bowman, Bug, Cartwright, McCune, and now Brady Domang on the mound for LSU.
See his numbers on the year, 2-0 to 3.68, making his 9th appearance. He does have 2 starts under his belt, a couple of midweek starts. He's got 14 2/3 innings pitched. Control has been a little of an issue for Brady Domingue. You see his 9 walks in 14 innings pitched.
Daniel Garner is the pinch hitter, and Domingue starts him with a strike.
You know, Domingue's a guy that's got good stuff, and he's got shut-down type stuff. But, again, he has to command the strike zone a little bit better than what he has.
Garner pops it up. Savic will have a chance in foul ground, and there's the first out. You know, Ben, it's interesting, and it illustrates the Mississippi State offensive woes in this series. The 3-hole hitters have failed to get on base the entire series.
That's hard to do. I mean, and you're right. I mean, yeah. Look what they've done in this game. Everybody's hitting the 3-hole. You know, Wes Ray, of course, struck out 3 times, and then Brown struck out. That made 4 strikeouts, so the 3-hole's 0 for 5, you know. And when the meat of your lineup is not producing and the meat can't get it done, it's hard to win games.
Reed Humphreys is batting for Mississippi State. Humphreys hitting .261. This is the 13th game in which he's played. He's got a home run, and he's driven in 4. He's batting for Brett Pirtle, who was 1 for 4.
Hey, Lynn, I want to give a get well wishes to Josh Curtis. He was a pitcher from Meridian Community College. They played Delgado yesterday, and Ben, this is an unbelievable story. He was the pitcher for Meridian. A line drive off the Delgado bat came right back at him. It literally, the ball went into his mouth. And just caused all kinds of damage. He's in the hospital around the Tupelo, Mississippi area. Big college baseball fan. You know, obviously maybe watching the game, and we want to wish him well as he'll recover. Had surgery today on his on all the injuries.
Gardone makes the play from third. And LSU is 1 out away from winning 3 games against Mississippi State. Ball 1 to Armstrong. Domingue went to Vanderbilt Catholic High School in Houma. Was extraordinary at LSU Eunice. And he's in his first year as a junior at LSU as Armstrong gets his second hit and extends the game momentarily. Ben, at the conclusion of this game, we'll take a look at the updated SEC Western Division standings.
That's what I'm sitting here looking at.
This 3-game sweep by LSU
gonna be big.
Has propelled the Tigers into the middle of the SEC West after starting the series at the bottom.
It's just amazing what a difference a weekend makes. And you can't figure this out. Again, there were 2 dominant teams in the SEC last year. LSU and Vanderbilt, they both ran away with their respective division. It's not going to happen, it doesn't appear, this year. I mean, look, South Carolina loses this weekend 2 out of 3. Vanderbilt loses 2 of 3 weekends. Supposed to be the 2 best teams over, you know, in the Eastern Division over there. And so it's just up for grabs.
C.T. Bradford is up for the 3rd time. He entered the game back in the 5th. He's 1 for 2.
Vanderbilt now has lost 2 of 4 SEC series, but you didn't think that would happen. South Carolina has lost 2 of 4 SEC series to this point.
Armstrong moves up on the wild pitch. Bradford does not play every day for the Bulldogs, but he's hitting above 300. And Domingue will try to get rid of him and clinch this third and final game of the series. LSU leading by 14. Now it's a 13-run lead. And Bradford is on his way to second base. He'll make it.
That's a double, and that's a good piece of hitting for C.T. Bradford right there. Got a ball kind of middle away and hit a line drive over shortstop Bregman's head all the way out to the gap for a double. There's no quitting this Mississippi State team, and quietly, you know, they put up 12 hits, and they kind of needed that off. Obviously, they're going to lose the ball game, but after anemic as their offense have been the first two games, this is something they can take out of this game. Yeah, we got swept. Yeah, we lost the last game, but hey, you know what? We hit it pretty well. We got 12 hits in this game, and we did score 4 runs.
Mississippi State in this game has twice as many hits as it had in the first 2 games combined.
And they're going to need to take that, you know, in against Ole Miss. You know, Ole Miss has been a bit of a surprise this year. You know, Mississippi State plays Ole Miss next weekend, and Ole Miss has really swung it well. Ole Miss has came in this weekend one of the top hitting teams in the SEC. They're number 2 with a .299 batting average going into the weekend, so they can swing it. I tell you what else about Ole Miss I noticed too, Lynn, is they're sitting second in the SEC in home runs, only behind Kentucky, so they have some pop in their lineup as well.
Jake Bickerson looks at an 0-2 count. He's had 3 hits today and a walk. And the bottom third of this Mississippi State lineup has been especially productive. Brady Domingue trying to close it out for the Tigers. This has been one of the longest games of the year for the Tigers, if not the longest. And LSU is happy to be playing 3 hours and 40 minutes with 20 hits and 17 runs.
Yeah, I got to say, I didn't see this coming either side after what happened the first 2.
I didn't see 9 innings coming today, did you?
No. You know, and looking back at this weather on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm thinking there's no way LSU plays 3 games this weekend, you know. I've always said best job in the world is the weatherman. It is. I mean, it'll never have to be right. I mean, they were calling for 3 inches of rain today and 100% chance and no chance. And Pat Shingleton calling saying, hey, it's going to be rained out and it's not going to happen. And look, we got 3 games in.
I towed a pirogue to the ballpark with me.
Yeah, well, I got out of the truck in my hip boots because I knew that it was going to be that much rain. I was going to wait out.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Hit well to left field. Shambra backing up. He's got enough room, and he makes the play on the warning track, and LSU sweeps Mississippi State. I beg your pardon, that's Fraley out in left field. The catch made nonetheless, and LSU wins it 17-4. Here are the updated SEC Western Division standings. LSU has moved from 7th to 3rd with the sweep of Mississippi State. Alabama at 8-4, Ole Miss at 7-5. Then come the Tigers. Mississippi State entered this series 6-3 in the league. It's now 6-6. So is Arkansas. Auburn and Texas A&M at 5-7. It's still anybody's race in the West, as is the case in the East. We'll come back to put a bow on this one. LSU wins big, 17-4. LSU baseball on Cox Sports Television is brought to you by Louisiana Cat, your statewide Caterpillar dealer, and by Valero, keeping America moving. This game was much unlike the first 2 games of the series. LSU won 3-0 behind Aaron Nola on Friday, 2-1 yesterday. Jared Poche pitching very well as the LSU starter. Today, a 17-4 explosion over the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Highs of 17 runs and 20 hits today for the season. We go down to Ronnie Rance with assistant coach Javi Sanchez.
Yeah, thanks, Lynn. A very happy assistant coach. Anytime as the hitting coach, your goal is always to get 10 hits a game. But when you get 20, we talk to you. So it had to feel good to kind of break out today.
Yeah, we're excited. You know, the offense, I felt like we got into a lot of good fastball counts, and we made them pay. Obviously, we left a lot of runners out there, as we were talking about earlier. That one inning that jumps out to me, second and third, nobody out, and we didn't end up driving the run in. But it was good to see guys like Ibarra get going, you know, get into those offensive counts and really get the bat head out.
Anything to obviously hitting better at home than on the road. I mean, the two road series, Vanderbilt and Florida, the offense struggled, but offensively at home in the SEC, you guys have been much better.
Yeah, I think the highlight is trying to get to that bullpen, you know, and I think we did a good job of that. You know, we burned up the lingering gun kid, the lefty that they got, that's really good out of their bullpen. And as you can see today, the arms that they ran out there, that caliber of arms weren't as good as they're typically used to running out there. So, you know, it's just a matter of building that pitch count up from that starter, hitting that fastball when you get in those fastball counts and making them pay.
Been a much better week, obviously, for not only the offense, but Alex Bregman in particular. He's the catalyst of your team. Was mired in an 0-for-17 slump. Had the homer against McNeese State. Much better week for him.
Yeah, that was a big home run. You know, Coach put on a hit and run, and it just felt like the whole load of our whole dugout just kind of loosened the mood. And obviously, it got us going from an offensive standpoint. I mean, he's a leader. He's not afraid to strap this team on his back, and I think the boys responded to that.
Well, congratulations on an offensive outburst.
Thank you so much, Ronnie.
Javi Sanchez, the hitting coach. Let's go back to Lynn and Ben.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. You know, Ben, the offense does leap out at you, but I want to look at Kyle Bowman because obviously he's going to be extraordinarily important as an SEC starter the rest of the way. What did you think about his 3 1/3 innings for the first time in a couple of weeks getting a start?
Well, remember last time he started the game was against Vanderbilt back on the 15th of March, and his last outing was just a third of an inning on the 2nd of April. So I felt like he was sharp, and I liked his velocity. He went 3 1/3 innings, you know, and he looked good. And I think it's something to build on for him because he's going to have to be the Sunday guy most probably for LSU.
He did give up 5 hits. A couple of them were soft ones. He walked 1, struck out 4. So Kyle Bowman apparently back in the lineup now as a starter for LSU. We thank you for joining us for LSU baseball this afternoon. We invite you to watch our next telecast Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central, when the Tigers host the Arkansas Razorbacks. For Ronnie Rance and Ben McDonald, I'm Lynn Rollins. The final score from Baton Rouge: LSU scores 17 and beats Mississippi State 17-4. Have a great week, everybody, from all of us at CST.